Samuel P. Fuller, age 24. Linda Mae Jenkins, age 19. Brutally attacked March 3rd, 1946. Howard W. Turner, 29. Emmylou Cook, 17. Bodies discovered in a wooded area on March 24th. Roy Allen, 17. Peggy Loomis, 15. Both found dead April 14th in Spring Lake Park. Floyd Reed, age 34. Murdered in his home on May 3rd. Mrs. Reed shot twice, but survived. This man's identity is unknown. He was believed to be between 30 and 40 years old. He wore a white hood and was known only as the Phantom Killer. World War II had just ended. In Texarkana, Arkansas, boys had come home to their families. Husbands reunited with their wives. It was a happy, peaceful time. Until the Phantom Killer struck. For 4 months, he held an entire city in the icy grip of terror. Now, Charles B. Pierce brings this incredible, shocking, and true story to the screen in The Town That Dreaded Sundown, starring Academy Award winner Ben Johnson as Captain J.D. Morales of the Texas Rangers.
I got a cold-blooded killer here. A man who nobody sees. A phantom who, so far, hasn't made any mistakes.
Andrew Prine as Deputy Norman Ramsey of the Texarkana Sheriff's Department.
The only thing we really do know is that we've got a very strange person on our hands.
The Town That Dreaded Sundown, a true story.
Dear Editor, this is the murderer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman and the girl on the 4th of July.
I want you to print this cipher on the front page of your paper.
He wants his code in the afternoon edition.
Ray Smith, don't you have a cartoon to finish?
The Zodiac killer has come to San Francisco.
Another letter.
School children make nice targets.
He gave himself a name.
Greek, Morse code, astrological signs. This guy's used them all.
I like killing people because man is the most dangerous animal of all.
How does one do that?
I like puzzles. I do them a lot.
Got any hard suspects?
About 90 an hour. I'm up to around 500.
You got 4 crime scenes, not a single usable print. You can't think of this case in normal police terms.
He's breaking the pattern.
Lana said you were a cartoonist.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing at a gun range?
I just want to help.
What are you, some kind of Boy Scout?
Eagle Scout, actually. First class. Paul, I've been thinking.
Oh, God save us all.
There's no evidence, Robert.
What do you mean there's no evidence? You have him seen with the ciphers, the military blueprints, the bloody knife.
All circumstantial.
Why do you need to do this?
Because nobody else will.
Dave, you made a mistake! Get away from the window.
Paul, are you okay?
No.
Why'd you do it? You put your face out there for him to see.
Hello? Who is this?
Zodiac was my job. It's not yours.
He's still out there, Dave.
Killing is his compulsion. It drives him. It's in his blood.
Jeez.
What?
Squirrels.
This is the Zodiac speaking.
I have a gun.
I can give you a lift to the service station.
Do you always go around helping people in the night?
I'm not the Zodiac. And if I was, I certainly wouldn't tell you.
Are you sure there's nobody else in the house?
There we go, everybody. That was 2 films that we're going to be discussing tonight. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1977, and of course, Zodiac, 2007. Two really good films based off of serial killers, actual events that happened. And we're going to talk about that in this episode of Off the Blade. I am Chris C., of course, joined by Darren. How are you doing tonight there, Darren?
Not so bad, not so bad. Yeah, still cold in the UK, so trying to get on with that. But nah, this should be a good show actually.
Yeah, it's
Both killers were like never even though they think they know, because I'll mention it on both cases, they think they know who did both, but
yeah.
nothing was actually done, while the killers were still alive. So we'll get
One
into
is
that anyway.
ongoing. One is ongoing, but the other one, yes, is like legendary. And we're going to talk about those two tonight. But like I said, I am Chris. That is Darren, and we got some few people in tonight. I see the Ginger Ninja, aka Jason, is in here. Check out his channel. He does great reviews, great stuff, man. His opening song is badass. And of course, from Parts Unknown, that is Russell Coyer. Always cool to see him in here. And yeah, just great people. And yeah, we're just going to have some dark fun tonight. Like I said, this all kind of started when we did our Off the Blade on serial killers, and me and Darren were talking about it, and we thought, yeah, this is a good idea. And these are good films. A lot of films have been done on serial killers. Henry, of course, you can go farther back, like early slashers from that time, like say Maniac, what have you, like that. They're character studies. These are character studies, and both very unique and different for its time. So but how are you doing there, Darren, by the way? How's the weather up there and everything?
Still cold, man, but yeah, like us Brits, we just get on with it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Just looking forward to Christmas now, really, and
yeah,
seeing what comes with that. But yeah, like you say, just same old, really.
Yeah, perfect. First off, we're going to get into a few films that we've watched recently and our thoughts on those, like real quick and stuff like that, what we currently watch. I'm going to put this out here real quick. This just got delivered today. This was part of my spending spree for Black Friday, and this got down. This was the kind of the last of the 4Ks that I'm getting. It was cheap enough for me to get, and that's Alfred Hitchcock's Frenzy. I really like this film a lot. That's thanks to Dirk and Darren's Hour to Kill stream. They did some of these Alfred Hitchcock films. I do have Rope on 4K as well. And there's this bad boy right here. I did get some Criterions, one of those being Rebecca. That's another Alfred Hitchcock stuff, but it's cool to get this. Very cool release, has goodies on it. And yeah. So
I didn't even know that was out on 4K.
Yeah, like I say, they have 4K like sets of like when they originally did on Blu-ray, and they have 4K sets. Come with like I would ever like that, but I thought, yeah, I'd just get these individually, like I say, the newest set that just came out has Psycho in it, and I'm like, I have the 4K of Psycho right over there as part of that Psycho set that Arrow did, which was up to my my box set of the year, really. And yeah, I need to see the remake with Elijah Wood, right? So
yeah, it's decent, the remake, I'll admit. Yeah. Maniac doesn't get the it deserves more than what it gets, really, because that is kind of your perfect slasher. There'll be another one I'm going to mention in this stream as well, but Maniac is like your perfect like early 80s slasher. It's got everything you want.
Yeah, character pieces, and definitely kind of started that boom of people like, why do you go watch that stuff and all this other stuff? And it's like, because it's like that.
There was news bulletins about the film on there. Maniac. I think there was one about cruising.
Yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night was a famous one that they all picked.
That's what I mean. They're all kind of character pieces. That's what I like about it. That's why we do streams like this, because it's that I'm fascinated by true crime and serial killers. What can I say? I'm twisted like that. And it's a joy, I guess, but diving into these cases, and it's helped police out these internet sleuths. They've helped police out. And that's very good that they're doing that, because we all want justice in the end for these people. We all want justice. And, with the Zodiac and the Ghost or the Phantom, it's the same thing. These people were brutally murdered for no reason whatsoever other than to satisfy the sick person's vices. I'll start what I've previously watched. First up is I Spit on Your Grave remake. This film is very good. I haven't seen the original I Spit on Your Grave, based off the film Day of the Woman. I believe that was the original name for that.
Yeah.
Basically, she's a writer. She goes, she's very pretty too. Let's see. Yeah, The Revenge of Jennifer Hill. So Sarah Butler plays Jennifer Hill. She's very pretty. And she goes up to this cabin in the middle of nowhere, backwoods area, to write a book and stuff like that. She stops at this gas station, these pieces of shit that are there, like whatever like that. And they help her out. One of the dudes helps her out, then accidentally water gets spilled on him or something like that. And goes, needs help. No, it just starts from there. One of the group is special needs. He does a very good job. And he's the one, because her toilet plugs up or water is all dirty and all this stuff too, fixes it up. And it's fixes it up and stuff like that. Goes, tells his buddies where she's at because he knows no better. And that's what had happened. She gets brutally raped very badly. Like I said, I haven't seen the original I Spit on Your Grave. This one, though, is hardcore, very good. They brutally rape her, leave her for dead, basically, and then she comes back and gets her revenge in the greatest way possible. The kills are very good in this one. Have you seen this, Darren?
I've not seen the remake, but I'm a massive fan. I'm a massive fan of the original. If you haven't seen that, I would get onto that pretty quickly.
I do have that. I have the Ronin Flicks release of that, of the original with Neil Keaton. You know,
yeah, there's a 10 or 15-minute rape scene in the first one that is really hard to watch, but like you say, towards the end when she gets kind of retribution,
but it's one of the better remakes. Yeah, one of the better remakes done. JT from JT's Horror Discussion loves it. He likes it better than the original. It's a very good one. Next up from 1922, I'm shocked I never watched this film, but that's Nosferatu. This might be the best silent film I've ever seen. I saw the color version on Amazon Prime, them and then flipping commercials. It still looks good. The only issue is with that, of course, because this was filmed during the day. A lot of it is. So it takes away from that. The actor that plays him, let's see. I don't know if they even...
It's a character, Max Schreck, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Dirk has seen, I know he mentioned that Jess Franco's Dracula is probably the closest to the book. I'm almost finished with the book. This one's pretty damn close up to a certain point. The only thing is there's no Lucy. There's no Dracula. They just renamed them all, but it's the same thing. You have a Renfield character. They do this very well. I'm shocked of how good this is. I really am. But yeah, it's an all-timer. I mean, look at that. I mean, dude, just great. And
I've seen all the iconic
perfectly from the book. Describes him perfectly from the book too, of how Dracula looks. The only difference is in the book he has hair and he has like a very thin mustache and stuff like that too. But yeah, this is very good. Highly recommend this if you have not seen this yet. Very, very, very good. The reimagining is coming up this Christmas, directed by Robert Eggers. That might be the horror of the year. Depending. It looks really good. So this one's up.
That's out on Christmas Day, I think, as well.
Yeah, Christmas Day. This, surprisingly, I think people are kind of shocked, is my horror of the year. I'm shocked I like this film. Oh, I like this film a lot. I'm really surprised. That's Smile 2. This is really good. Like, I know Jason has his issues with it. I get it. This is a beautiful looking film. The actress that plays the singer, is an actual singer and dancer in real life. Very, very good. Let's see if I can see. There's the cast here. Just like, yeah, Naomi Scott as Sky Riley. So she's a pop star singer. And she's recovering from a violent accident with her and her actor boyfriend and stuff like that too. First off, this film starts out great. It has the dude that who was in Strange Darling, who plays the police officer. He was in the first film. Okay, it opens up with that, and then it just goes crazy good. It's shot really well. The colors are very good. It has giallo elements to me. I recommend this, Darren. I recommend this film. This is miles better than the first Smile film.
I've not seen either of them.
Yeah. But I would recommend this if you can, like, get it like on streaming service or something like that. Wait for it to come out like for streaming and stuff. Check it out. But I like this I like Smile a lot. But yeah, this is up for my horror of the year. Stop motion is still number one. It's between stop motion and Late Night with the Devil, but stop motion is another one I'd highly recommend. But yeah, Smile 2, this is a good one.
Okay.
Very pretty film. And yeah, she does a great job. And she's a damn good singer. That ending, though, is a trip. So yeah, that's the kind of 3 films I kind of watched there. I didn't watch because the ones we're going to be talking about in a minute, I recently watched, of course. How about you, Darren?
Pretty much so. The only ones I really watched is the ones for Dirk and my channel. So I watched The Witch from 1966.
Great film. I love that set so much. I love that set so much. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can get, if you go back onto our channel, you can watch them all our reviews in full. But that's a good kind of black and white, really atmospheric. I watched Blood on Satan's Claw, which again surprised me. I enjoyed that a little bit more than I thought I would. That's like a folk horror going back to the UK. You got like this this
kind of like a Hammer film, huh?
It is
like a little bit,
but better. It's a Tygon film,
better.
which has kind of come just after Hammer.
Very nice.
Linda Hayden, absolutely stunning blonde. And she's like the head of these kids, and she's kind of a disciple of the devil, if you will. And then I won't say anything else about that, but people should dig that. We watched Vi as well, which I wasn't a big fan of, but Dirk loves it.
That was a funny kind of ending with the big, I call them like big Muppets, like with the big dude, like talking in that language, like bring him to me and blah, 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 blah. And like, I know, I kind of dig stuff like that.
I'm surprised the effects at the end didn't hold up, because the stuff all before that is superb. And the coffin's flying around, and you got the witch and the young girl in the coffin.
I like it that you all mentioned the books I'll like it that you mentioned the books that kind of the stuff is based off of, because I'm kind of getting back in, like I'm getting into Gothic literature. So I've talked to you about the Gothic books that I have. One of those is called Vampire, which is, I think, the first vampire story. It's like a short before Carmilla. Right. I have that Criterion coming. That's based off of that short story. So great. Yeah, great stuff. Those were great reviews too. Love that. Definitely check that out, everybody, if you haven't just yet. It's very cool. Because what's his name is in there? In The Witch.
You've got Richard Johnson. You've got Ivan Razumov.
Yes, Ivan Razumov. Yeah, from from like a lot of things. Few Policio Testes, of course, like Colt 39 Special Squad. Yeah. He's great in that.
Kind of Martino stuff he's in.
Super bitch, or whatever you may call it.
Yeah. He's kind of wasted. He's wasted in The Witch, I think, because he's
because I think that was like he just had a small part in there. Yeah.
So you can see how young he looks as well in that film.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of what we watched and stuff like that. Check those films out if you all haven't. Definitely, I will get to those films. So first up, we're going to talk about is 1977's. It's from the director of Boggy Creek, which I heard is not a good Bigfoot film. But yeah, that's the town that's dreaded Sundown. Directed by Charles B. Pierce, stars Academy Award winner Ben Johnson, Andrew Prine, and Don Wells. But Ben Johnson as J.D. Morales. He was was he a marshal? No, ranger, I think.
He's a Texas Ranger, yeah.
Texacara. And I originally gave this an 8 out of 10. It's good for its time. And this is a double Blu-ray DVD set. So this comes with his other film, The Evictors. I remember Walt Wrangler mentioned The Evictors, said it was pretty good. So, but I think you can get the Evictors kind of past whatever you can do. So, but so based off of true story after the war, after World War II, like the narrator said, that's so good. That's back in that gritty time, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You had narration before this and stuff like that. It just works so well. And all the acting is pretty good for its time. It's kind of tropey a bit, but it's still terrifying. So, first off, what's your thoughts about this film, Darren?
Love it, man. Ever since I saw this back, I would say not that long ago, really thinking about it. So it must have been about the middle 2000s, 2005, 2006. It came on UK TV, and you got the whole narration of the film all the way through, gives it like a documentary style feel to it. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. You know, some of the kills that we're going to mention, the whole look of the killer, and this was way before Friday the 13th Part 2. Kind of reminds me of Torso. Would you say Torso got that kind of? It may have been influenced.
It has that vibe, yeah. The whole mask idea, or in that case, the potato sack. You know, potato sack Jason, and definitely before that, the plaid shirt that he's wearing. You know, and all that stuff too, like the farmer, I could call him Farmer Jason and stuff like that too, or Woodsman. Basically, the Woodsman getup. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lover's Lane. I mean, come on. Yeah.
This the killer in this, I couldn't find out anything about who played the killer, but what a performance, man. Like to me, he's better than anyone in any of the Friday the 13th films. Like just the way he portrays the character in this.
Okay.
He's like glowing under the
I know. Yeah, that's the scene we're gonna get up to. That's the most unique thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it's superb. And just to set it up, you know, the cinematographer is James W. Robertson, which you might remember that directed Superstition that we covered not long ago.
Yeah.
So
that's another great film.
Absolutely. And I think he only did that. And he might have done Terror on Tour as well, but I know he is the cinematographer on Terror on Tour. But this one's great. I absolutely love this one. It's probably one of my favorite slashers. And it's sort of not spoken about a lot. I don't know why.
Neither is the I wouldn't call it a remake. It's like a part 2. It's just reimagined so many years later. Different actors, of course, and stuff like that. But I need to check that one out. From
it's more of
2014.
Yeah,
2014 and stuff, which I heard is pretty good. We got some people in chat here real quick. I'm just going to bring up Mr. Cal L. Daly. It's great to see you there, Cal. He joined me on Keith's channel last night. We're watching Cujo and stuff like that. Great transfer from Kino. Great film, definitely, and stuff like that. So, just saying hi to everybody. I think Man was in here for a second. So, just go ahead and start us off with the town that dreaded sundown there, Darren.
Right. So, so we start off, and it's like 8 months after World War II. Texarkana's got this population of only 40,000. And the town is starting to get back on its feet after the war. You know, like some of the soldiers that come back from the war, they're starting to enroll in college, and you know, things are looking up. And then all of a sudden, they're just hit by this fucking wave of crimes from this phantom killer. So we start off Sunday, March the 3rd, 1946. That's when it all started. You got Sammy Fuller and Linda Mae Jenkins, and I will say in the film the names are different to the real case, but we can discuss some of the real case after. But they park up on this Lover's Lane. You got this hooded man then just stalks the car. The hood of the car goes up, and there he is. He's just got the wires yanked from the engine. Basically, he pulls the man out of the car. It's just the way it's done, man. It's just incredible. Because he cuts him on the broken glass as well as he pulls him out after smashing the window. But that
was a trip. That was a trip. The way he breaks it is done very well. The camera is like in the car, and he just swings at it, boom, like that, and just goes right in there. Yeah, this dude definitely has a lot of hate in him. Yeah, definitely a lot of hate.
Yeah, he's one of the most ruthless fucking killers you'll ever see in a slasher film. And then the final kind of shot to that scene is he gets in the car with the girl, and then it ends. But we all know, you know, what happens after that. Surprisingly enough, like next day she's found and she's still alive on the side of the road. Deputy Norman Ramsey kind of reports that there's 2 victims and they're both alive. They're both at the hospital. The doctor tells Sheriff Barker then that the girl was not raped. Although, even though she wasn't raped, it's suggested later on with some more of the killings that he was kind of sexually frustrated, but I don't know. It's kind of
it had to have been his first So he had to, like, you consider it practice, right? That's Ed Kemper had talked about that. He would drop off in Santa Cruz. He would drop off people in certain locations. You know, he'd ask them for rides and stuff like that. And he said, yeah, so he was planning ahead of time. So this dude, like say, sexually frustrated. He's like, I'll do better next time. You know, next time it'll be different. Bundy had the same issues. Like I said, he like necrophilia. I mean, that's really what it was. You know, fear got him off. Fear probably got this person off as well.
Similar to Bundy, actually, where this guy in the first kill, or the first attack, I should say, because they both didn't die. He bit the girl all over her breasts, all over her back.
Yeah,
all
very
over her
bad.
legs.
Yeah.
And Bundy would often do that as well.
Yeah.
Because when you mentioned that,
they got teeth marks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the whole, as you can imagine, the whole town is like on red alert. You know, people are like boarding up their windows, getting new locks for their cars and for their, you know, doors and all that, you know. And then we jump to Saturday match the 24th, and there is kind of like there is the way it goes is like every 3 weeks, so it's got a method to his madness. So we got Howard W. Turner. He takes his girlfriend Emma Lou Cook out in the car. It's like raining heavily, and that features a lot as well in the kills with the rain. Ramsey, the deputy, he's like out on parole, on the patrol car, and he hears these gunshots. And he finds a parked car with no one in it, which looks very suspicious. And then he keeps hearing more gunshots. So he goes and he basically goes over. He finds Turner dead in a ditch, and Emma Lou Cook, she's like tied to a tree. He sees the hooded man escape as well, doesn't he? And this guy is so like, fucking elusive, you know?
Like I said, he shoots the dude straight up, shoots the man because he wants the woman. He wants the woman. He plans on torturing her. It's the same issue. There is comedy a little bit in here with one of the officers, which I can see kind of tries to lighten it up a little bit. And I do like the way they talk and they act for that time. So I do like the acting for this during that time, because this is the 40s. This is right after the war. You didn't know what a serial killer is. They just call them like spree killers or sex maniacs or whatever the hell you want to call them. They had no way of dealing with this. That's what makes this movie kind of this film special, because the fact, you know, they're talking about it, and it's like, how would this, you know, bring in psychiatrist type people, you know, you'll get to that point too of like, how is this person acting? Why would he do this? You know, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're trying to even do profiles back then.
Yeah.
Nothing like there is today with the DNA.
Oh yeah, you can't.
I'm not sure why they don't, because with all this genealogy going on today, I'm not sure why they haven't gone back and looked at this case again to see. I don't know if there's any kind of,
a lot of stuff is like, was it called like too old or stuff like that, or it gets destroyed when people move and stuff like that, or just becomes inconclusive. Yeah, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Yeah, maybe it's gone missing and that. But yeah, same again. You know, every gun store selling all their guns after this second attack.
Yeah.
And all that. I love the whole look, like you say. It does actually feel like 1946, and I don't know how they did it on such a low budget as well. And it's that strange narration, like I mentioned earlier. It just fucking makes this film unique, man.
Yeah,
it's
it does.
Like
it really makes it.
It's like no other. I know Boggy Creek's got something similar, but it's I think this is his best film. I've seen a few of them. This is by far his best film. But yeah, you know, that obviously it keeps going on. You mentioned the comedy with there is a little bit of comedy like Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
I think
that's what he was going for.
Bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got Sparkplug, and he was actually played by the director. So
okay. That I didn't know. That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? Just like Fulci.
Right. Yeah. So you've got Sheriff back, and he brings in the most famous criminal like investigator in the country, the lone wolf of the Texas Rangers, J.D. Morales, and he's the first one to label the killer the Phantom. and he's got this comedy cop, as you say, you know, Sparkplug as his driver, and there's a few little funny bits where he's driving them out, and
that's hilarious. I have to admit, yeah, because he's like saying, "Yeah, I'll drive you there" and stuff like that too, and he's like the worst driver in the world. Like,
yeah, he stops when he shouldn't and all that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of puts it down. I'll rate this afterwards, and it's high. But
Yeah.
that kind of knocked off a mark, I think, for the comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the FBI are called in as well, and you've got all these crackpots coming out there confessing to the crime. But at the barbers, then we got a scene at the barbers where Ramsey tells Morales that the Phantom strikes every 21 days. The next attack falls on a day where the high school prom is going on, and all the decoys.
That's a very good scene. That, like you say, with the budget that they had, that was done very well because they do the dancing and all that other stuff too. Because it's the senior prom, I think.
Yeah.
Because then, like you say, the narrator they kind of talk about that. You know, I like films like that. You know, they put the year, and they put the day.
Right.
You know, at this time, what happened, and these two people, like when they disappeared. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. You know, and what happened in the real case as well, which we can mention later, is they would literally put these decoys up. You know, you get these police officers. I don't think it was to the level they did at this with the humor with the one police officer dressed up,
Right.
dressed up as a woman. But what they did do in the original case was they would have two kids, basically 19, 20-year-olds.
Okay.
But they would heavily, you know, be watching to make sure nothing untoward goes on. But fuck me, man, you couldn't do that nowadays with the risk. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, really. You'd have to be very close. And like I say, you didn't have cover like you do now. Like you just don't. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me enough to do that now. But yeah, so we've got the dance of the prom made for April the 14th. Trombone player Peggy Loomis. She leaves with her boyfriend Roy Allen. They go to Spring Lake Park in the middle of town. They kind of park up.
Just want to say real quick, April 14th, my birthday is April 16th. So yeah, just a few days before that. That's a trip to know. I forgot about the dates. Like,
yeah, this all happened in such a
4 months, right?
Time. Yeah,
literally. Yeah.
So they're sort of packed up in this Lover's Lane type part of the park, I guess. But then the fucking Phantom strikes again. He's stalking their car. There's a great shot of the killer jumping on the driver's door as the fucking car. Man, that's one of the best slasher sequences.
It comes out of nowhere too. This was done very well for its time.
Yeah, and he pulls the actual guy out the car as well while the car's in motion. Superb.
That's right. He chases it down.
And he kind of beats the fuck out of this guy as well. Fist fights this guy and just absolutely.
Yeah, because he got pissed off. He's like, "On you asshole! You almost ran me over."
Exactly. And Peggy's trying to stop the car, and the car ends up crashing. She runs off into the woods, but then, and all this is all in one scene, mine. But then he catches up to her and he ties her to a tree.
Ties her to the tree like this, right?
Yeah,
not from the back, but from that side. Yeah, that's where it gets interesting.
Completely bizarre because Roy wakes up her boyfriend, but then he's shot dead at point blank range.
Man.
In one of the most bizarre fucking killings you will ever see in a slasher film. And this did not happen in the real life case.
Of course not.
I will say. But the Phantom gets his pocket knife out. And where this girl was a trombone player, he ties it to the end of a trombone player. And while she's tied to the tree, he plays a trombone and kills her at the same time.
Yeah.
It is fucking an amazing. It's got to be one of the best, slasher.
It's the most unique. I don't think it's ever been used in any other ones. I'm surprised if it probably has, but maybe not.
No. And this guy is just completely ruthless, man. He reminds me a lot of the killer in Torso, even the look as well.
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah. So you've got that going on. You've got it's just unnerving to see that scene. But so they bring in psychiatrist then Dr. Kress, I should say, meets up with Morales and the other officers at this restaurant. He says the Phantom is a highly intelligent sadist with a strong sexual drive. He's living what seems to be a normal life. He's about 35 to 40 years of age. And then we see the Phantom's shoes in shot. So the Phantom
Right,
is
they're in the
watching that
restaurant, right?
conversation.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
in the restaurant, just a paying person, so they know him. The people in there know who the person is.
Right.
You
So
don't
the
get
killer
that
is
just
actually
one
in
time.
there.
You don't get that once. You get that multiple times in this film. It's crazy. But you're
Yeah.
not, you know, they don't, right? That's the
Exactly.
beauty about
Exactly.
films. You can scream at the screen saying he's right there. He's right there. You don't know, Killer Among Us.
Exactly. I like the fact that they do that as well by just seeing his boots or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that was done in a film called See No Evil from 1971 as well, where we see just the killer's boots throughout the whole film until the reveal at the end. But
Is that the one with Mia Farrow?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. She's blind.
That's the one. That's well worth getting hold of as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so at the station then, this man named Johnson says he was robbed and forced to, he was robbed at kind of gunpoint, forced to drive this man to Lufkin, this place called Lufkin, and he's kind of adamant that this may be the Phantom.
This may be the person, yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of check that out. Ramsey gets a report of the robbery as well. And after a car chase, suspect Eddie Ledoux denies everything. So they find this other guy. But he confesses to being the Phantom, weirdly enough. And that happens a lot in this film as well. There's like 2 or 3 crackpots just saying that they're the Phantom.
Yeah.
And the guy, the guy from the Texas Rangers, he's like, no, there's no way. Which is good, But yeah, so we head on then to another scene, which is Friday, May the 3rd. You got Helen Reed. She's spotted by the Phantom again. She's stalked at this grocery store where she's at. He follows her home that night. The Phantom shoots her boyfriend.
That's
in his
great.
armchair,
That
in
is
the window.
great.
That is how it happened as well, I believe, in the original case. And the way he breaks the door down, he just starts like ballistically just breaking the door down. So terrifying, man. And he ends up shooting her twice in the face as well. As badly injured as she is, she kind of drags herself to a nearby cornfield while the Phantom inspects, the guy, Floyd, her boyfriend's body. He stalks her with a pickaxe.
He's the one that's in the chair. In the chair reading paper or whatever that is. Yeah, just goes in. That's it. That's a great shot. You saw that in the trailer. Yeah, that's a great
she asked
shot.
him, didn't she? I think she asked him if she can hear someone outside.
Yeah.
And again, such a great scene. He's got a pickaxe.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. And then the target dates for the next crime you would think would have been Friday, May the 25th, Saturday the 26th, Sunday 27th. They go by without any incident, so they're kind of like they're nowhere in this case now. No one knows nothing about this guy. There's no evidence. There's nothing. No fingerprints.
Yeah, they can't. They're basically they don't have the resources either. Like I say, this is like a regular kind of town, little town. You can say whatever it is, but it's like, it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So Morales and Ramsey then they get a report of a stolen car, which matches the car from the Turner and Cook murders earlier on, or the attack earlier on, I should say. They see the Phantom while investigating like this sand pit. That's a great scene as well. So you got Morales shoots him and misses him, and then he goes running off, the killer.
Yeah.
Goes running off into the woods, I believe. But he escapes by this moving train, and this is another great scene.
Through these swamps. These swamps. I remember that because they're all inspecting the train. They're all going underneath, trying to find him and stuff like that. Because in this film, they almost had him. They almost
a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times, they've almost had
at least 2 or 3 times.
He's
Ben
the
Johnson,
luckiest killer you ever.
Just a heads up to him. This is the first film I've ever seen him in. Obviously, he's an Academy Award winner. I do recognize him. What a great actor he was. I mean, he just plays that part. He plays the part the man was kind of supposed to be played. His character, of course, as J.D. Morales was highly respected. You know, this was his case. I mean, he was determined to do it. It's just too bad it just never happened for him in real life. Man, he wanted to find this person because people were dying, and he does a very good job with that. He's good with like all the officers and stuff like that, you know, because they know who he is. The dude's a legend. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what makes this film more impactful.
This was the only case he couldn't solve. But in the killer trying to get away, like on the other side of the train, he ends up getting shot in the leg. And like you say, then he goes into the swamps.
That's the last you see of him. Yeah.
Basically, they don't know if, like in the real case as well, whether he just died in the swamps, because no one's, even though
that's what they said. That's what the narrator said. Yeah.
In real life, I'm talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do show him again in this, right towards the end. There's a scene so it's Christmas time, and they're showing we go forward to 1976. It's Christmas time. They're showing the Town of Dreaded Sundown in the local theater premiering.
Isn't that crazy?
We see the fucking killer in line, just his shoes.
In line. Yeah. Shoes.
That is great. That's a
great way to end it. Like I say, very similar to a film, to a giallo I like a lot, which you and Dirk have talked about, The Killer Is Still Among Us, where it's in the movie theater and she goes, "Oh, hi, how are you?" You know, and something like that too.
Yeah, that
you don't know. This will be mentioned again in Zodiac because it's very similar, where it's like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, it's very good."
We do get like a little bit of text at the end of the film as well, just pretty much saying Morales, today, this was obviously 1976. Today he's retired from the Texas Rangers, lives in Dallas. Andrew Prine as well does a good job, plays Ramsey. Got to mention him as well.
That means he had to have seen the film. So that means he was around to see the film. He's like, that's me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Probably him and Ben Johnson probably. I think the extra is on this. I think there is. I don't know where
it does. There's a commentary track about the original.
Yeah, by film historian Jim Presley. I've heard his stuff before. He's very good at doing that. I definitely need to check that out. Interview with Don Wells and Andrew Prine. Essay by Brian Albright. Yeah. Poster still gallery, all that good stuff on here. This is a good release. I'm surprised Scream Factory doesn't release a 4K of it.
I was going to say to you, I don't think it's got a 4K. This is the one to get, like Chris got there.
Yeah.
But with this one, I didn't so much do it for the Zodiac, because I know me and Chris has watched a documentary fairly recently on that, which we can talk about later.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. Yeah,
I did get some stuff on the original Texarkana Moonlight Murders, which is what it was called. So this is what, I've got quite a few notes actually, but I won't like say them all. But the unknown perpetrator was known as the Phantom of Texarkana, the Phantom Killer, or the Phantom Slayer. The suspect is credited with attacking 8 people, killing 5 in a 10-week period, February the 22nd to May the 3rd, 1946. The weapons he used was a .32 pistol and a .22 rifle. The attacks occurred at night on weekends, targeting couples. The first 3 attacks all happened in Lovers Lane, by very quiet stretches of road. The 4th attack happened at an isolated farmhouse. We just mentioned all that in Arkansas. Prime suspect, which was kind of interesting now. So this is the real case, yeah? So the prime suspect in the case was a career criminal called Ewell Swaney. I think I'm saying that right. And he was linked to the murders after statements from his wife and additional circumstantial evidence. However, she refused to testify against her husband, and the prosecutors were left like really disappointed about that. She was convinced he was the killer as well.
But she just wouldn't do it. She just wouldn't do it because, it's relationship thing. Yeah.
Absolutely convinced he was a killer. And from what I've seen and listening to that commentary track on there, I think that was the guy. There are more kind of suspects as well, which I can mention a couple of them as well.
Yeah.
I've got detailed analysis of every murder, but I won't bore everyone with that.
Right.
We did go through that. But Yeah, so there was, so the investigation, right? So you got the law enforcement repeatedly challenged Larry's account of the first attack. So basically, they believed her and Hollis knew the killer, or knew the attacker, I should say, because and they were convinced right up until the end of the case that may not have been the Phantom Killer.
Wow.
But I don't know, but he's portrayed in the film as the Phantom Killer. So
yeah, if you wear gloves, like I said,
yeah.
the film he wears gloves like workers' gloves, I believe. And
right,
yeah, it just, I mean, we had no DNA then. You just like Jack the Ripper type stuff, you just don't have it. So it's very hard to, just do that. You have to catch them. One thing I give, which is kind of funny, like I say, some of the comedy in the film and stuff like that too. Beautiful areas. It looks like it's in a state park, like a lot of the stuff with the driving through these. And they had these cars available, which makes it cool. These cars, these 40s, like Model Ts or whatever they are, like, so it kind of shows what they look like back then and stuff like that too. I kind of like that. So it kind of takes you back in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a career. That was a career role by Ben Johnson. Of course, he's done other greater things, but it was a career by him. And yeah, he just, they do mention, like I say, just at that point you retire and you always have that. I would link his J.D. Morales's cases to Elliot Ness. There was one crime he could never solve, and he retired, and that haunted him for the rest of his life. They mentioned that in an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I think it was a few murders, and he couldn't solve it. The guy who put Al Capone away technically for the rest of his life when he was mentally stable.
Right.
It happens. You can't do it. It's sad, but yeah, it's the truth. Now you know what you know.
Yeah, this guy just got lucky. But I will say something. So Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jane Leary were the first two attacked. And they were the only victims able to give a description. But this is where things kind of fell apart, because even though they both said he was 6 feet tall, wearing a white mask with holes cut out for the eyes and the mouth, Hollis said he was a white male, and she said she thought he was a black African American. So you could see the police didn't really have a lot to go on.
In a white sheet over his head. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting premise.
Yeah, Hollis said he was crazy as well, because some of the things that he would come out with, the killer, like
he's a psychopath.
Mind, he said he's a complete psychopath. Yeah. But I will mention just a couple more of the suspects. So even though I've mentioned Yul Swinney, there's a little bit more. He was a 29-year-old car thief and counterfeiter. His wife Peggy, I know I mentioned this before, but I'll just get through quick, was convinced he was a phantom, blah blah blah. But yeah, she even told the police, right, where the victims, like kind of all the victims' stuff was. No one would have known that apart from the killer. And
that's very true. Yeah, it's what it's what you can prove for it. Like I say, they have to have testimony, and she didn't do the testimony, which is shocking to me. Yeah,
Sweeney told her where all the possessions of the victims were, and only them two could have known. So
he probably told her that for a reason, probably knowing she wouldn't do it. Like probably knowing, like you can say it, but it's like you can say it, but you have to, you have to say it under oath.
I think he kind of done it, like got her involved, so she was kind of incriminated.
Yeah, that she'd be committing perjury.
Yeah. There was another suspect. There's quite a few. There was one called Doody Tennyson. He was an 18-year-old university freshman who killed himself on November the 4th, 1948.
Wow.
He left cryptic instructions, suicide note in which he confessed to the killings of the Stark murders and Booker and Martin attacks. Had played trombone in the same band as Booker.
Wow. And you said that kill didn't really happen with that. That was just added on. So that's crazy.
Yeah. He was ruled out, though, because one of his friends said he was playing cards the one night of one of the attacks. And they both saw it on the news or on the radio, I think it was.
You think it could have been more than one person? like I say,
This could
sometimes
be the case, yeah.
Yeah, it's because, like I say, serial killers sometimes, like I said, Ed Kemper and Richard Mullins were doing shit at the same time, like literally at the same time. Like you
Yeah, it
literally
could
had
well
two
have been.
serial killers
Yeah.
in California doing the same type of stuff, but you can't. There's always a pattern to everything, right? So you have to look. Serial killers have patterns and stuff, so I can understand why they can kind of rule him out. Like, say, if you're at this place, maybe that person killed whoever. And, but yeah, like you say, it's not DNA wasn't around then kind of to do that.
There was just one last thing. So
Yeah.
the saxophone that the girl had on her, like that went missing for a while. And there was a guy who was trying to sell a saxophone in one of these like secondhand shops, music
pawn
stores
shops,
or whatever. And then when they kind of confronted him, he became elusive and run off. So they don't know whether that could have been the killer. I don't think it was, but they did kind of go back to his place, search his place. They found a bag of bloody clothing, but it was not related to the murders.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it was kind of crazy, innit? But they went back and they found 6 months after the attack, they went back and they looked in the underbrush where the girl was killed by the tree, and they found the saxophone in there, which they should have got first time round.
Yeah, they should have got the first time around. So it was there for that long, and you didn't notice it. That's crazy.
And that tells you where the investigation was probably a little bit amateurish to what they would do now.
Oh, big time. Yeah, they weren't experiencing this because you didn't get this. You just didn't get it. You didn't get this at the time, or you didn't know,
right.
What these people were. Very good, Darren.
It's a 9. It's a 9.5 for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I gave it a solid element.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 8 out of 10, but it's a good one. It's up there as a kind of an introduction to slashers, really. You can double feature this with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, really. It has that grittiness to it, in my opinion.
I would say double feature. Yeah, you could with that. I would say with Torso would be ideal.
Yeah.
And even Friday the 13th Part 2, I know it sounds obvious and people,
oh yeah,
look at the killer.
Of course.
To me, it's a blueprint. It's an absolute blueprint slasher film. There's not much that come before it, And in terms of that guy who plays the killer, I think he would have graced any Friday the 13th film. I would love to have seen him. And no one knows much about him. I couldn't even find out his name, so.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1977. Yeah, I think it's on Amazon Prime and highly recommend it. Yeah, Russell said, saw it in the theater and loved it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I can see this at a drive-in. Yeah, which he did.
Shit.
Oh yeah, Russell's the man.
Theater, man, I would love to have done that.
Oh yeah, Russell's the man, Canadian chap and stuff.
Dirk's
like that
gonna be doing that next. I think next Halloween they show it every year in Texarkana.
Nice. On
a big screen, so I think Dirk's gonna go up and then he's gonna do all the location shoot.
Like he did with Creature of Black Lake.
He
did that. Yeah. You need to check that
and
one
I
out.
think you can still find the tree as well where that happened. So
very cool.
So cool.
Yeah, definitely.
That trombone scene is amazing.
It's
it's an amazing scene. Any slasher fans watching this now who've never seen this film, please track it down and watch, because
if we ever had the time, we'd have to do, that'd be a big project, like our best kind of like kills and slashers and stuff like that too. That'd be a very interesting list. We'll have to do that one of these days.
That trombone one would be top.
Yeah,
10.
definitely.
For sure.
Let the Right One In, OG or remake Let Me In. I like the remake Let Me In. I have not seen the original Let the Right One In, but the remake is very good. I like Let Me In a lot. It has the dude that played Casey Jones in the Ninja Turtles film from the 90s and stuff like that. He's a good actor. Have you seen that film, Darren?
No, I've not seen.
It's a vampire film. It's one of the better ones. Let the Right One In, I would suggest watching first, because that's the original. Let Me In is almost a shot-for-shot remake done over here. Basically, it's a girl, child who's basically a vampire. She feeds on her host, a dude, that older gentleman that takes care of her and stuff like that too. There's a great ending scene where he takes out these kids that are bullying the dude. Oh, dude, there's a pool scene. It's great. He's all hiding underneath the pool, and you see like heads falling in the pool and stuff like that because he's not watching it, because she tells him just to go underneath there. It's almost like a interesting relationship. So I recommend Let Me In and Let the Right One In. That was done in a 4-pack Blu-ray collection that I had that Anchor Bay released. That has the remake to, which is very good. The Crazies that's a good remake. And Pandorum and other films like that. So definitely recommend that one. Wake and Frightened is a classic Aussie film. I've heard of that one.
Oh man, that's a great film. I've seen that a couple of years ago, I think. It's Australian. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. It's got kangaroos in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, of course.
It's completely fucked up though.
Jewish exorcist film, The Possession. I don't think I've heard of that one. I don't know, Sam Raimi. That's crazy. See No Evil, Brit film with Mia Farrow.
Russell, is that coming up? See No Evil. Highly recommended.
The Devil's Chair. Yeah, so Russell's recollecting. Like I say, a lot of these are kind of classic ones and stuff like that. Like I Drink Your Blood and stuff like that too. So he loves those films. Devil's Chair I've heard about.
Yeah,
I've heard of The Devil's Chair. And we got Dawn of the Dead 1984. That is Jerry. What's going on, Jerry? Thanks for joining. I really appreciate that. So that's a good question, Cal. So I kind of said, I'll go first here real quick. No, this is in no order. Strange Darling, Smile 2, Late Night with the Devil, Stop Motion. I know I'm missing something because I've been buying these.
Maxine, maybe.
Maxine, I put Strange Darling over Maxine. I'll think of it in a second, but there's been some good horror this year. People like Oddity. I think Oddity is okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world. I think it's kind of bland for what it is, but people seem to like Oddity. I haven't seen Abigail. I have Abigail, and I haven't seen The Substance just yet. But those will definitely be whatever like that. I know I have 5. We plan on doing that for the year next year.
You like Long Legs as well?
Yes, thank you. God, I can't believe I forget that. I do like Long Legs, but right now, Stop Motion is my number one. Right now, it's between that and Late Night with the Devil. I don't know, because those two kind of like that, and then Smile. Just watching that, there's just something about that film. What about you, Darren?
Me, I've barely seen 5 to be honest this year, new films. But Strange Darling is by far the best one I've seen. I did like Maxine up until the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's why Strange Darling beat out Maxine to me. And I do like Maxine. I really like Mia Goth. My God.
And I'm blanking on some of the others. It might come back to me later. But I've barely seen 10 to be honest, new film.
Right, I hear you. It's probably the best year I've seen in horror. I said that last night, probably in the last decade. The best year I've seen for horror. Like, it's been really good. You have some misses and stuff like that, but I heard Tarot is really good for a PG-13 horror. Or that's pretty good. So Possession, 2012 American supernatural horror film, and produced by Sam Raimi. Yeah, Sam Raimi is a good producer. He's a good producer, except for that one I have, the dude from The Walking Dead in it that plays Negan. That film's fucking terrible. So I was like,
okay, yeah. Long Legs, I was a bit disappointed with, to be honest. I need to give it another go.
The Uninvited, I need to watch. I've heard about that film.
There's a couple of Uninvited, so yeah. Oh yeah, the one from 08 or 09. So. Yeah.
Late Night, Long Legs, Maxine, The Substance, and Abigail. Sting, I can't decide. I've heard Sting's pretty good. That's a Shudder original, so that's on there. Yeah, definitely. Shudder's come out with some good ones, to tell you the truth. Like, say, Late Night with the Devil, they helped with that one, bringing that over here.
There's a few I want to see, like In a Violent Nature is one of them.
Oh, yeah, In a Violent Nature, I'll mention that. That's not top 5, but for fans for slashers, it's a good one. It's just the ending. If they cut 20 minutes from that to 30 minutes, it'd be a better film, in my opinion. I do like it because it's different. It's like playing the Friday 13th video game or Dead by Daylight video game, right? It's through third person through him. There's a great kill scene when I did that watch slash along with Keith. He takes an axe or whatever it is, and he hooks it to the horn of the car, right? He goes in there, he goes boom, like that where it goes, and then he walks around the cabin. You see the dude in the cabin sees him. He doesn't see him, but he does. It's shot very well. I was impressed with that, so it works out pretty good. So, but yeah, that's definitely a good one. Really good stuff. Yep. Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it. Okay. Yeah, the Unholy. It's just not. Morgan's an okay actor. He's just not the best. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was like co-produced by Sam Raimi and stuff like that. I have that release over there. I'm like, I just wasn't feeling it. Maybe because it was PG-13, they tried to make it better, but it just didn't, it just didn't work for me. Like a slow burn with that in general. All right, so we're up to the second film that we're going to be talking about tonight. I'll start this one out, and that's Zodiac. Now, this just came out from Paramount.
Horrible glare there.
Yeah, and this is from Paramount Scares. So expect this in the next Paramount Scares. So they're starting labeling these. You have the Paramount Scares logo on the top here. I remember doing a video saying this could be a new boutique label because they've tried this before. So this is Paramount Scares. This is a great release. So this may be up there for my release of the year. I watched the Blu-ray on here. So this has the 4K and then 2 Blu-rays. So this is loaded with special features.
Oh shit! I've only got the DVD.
That one has that probably. So it has basically the Blu-ray that you have, and then another Blu-ray with separate special features wise. So yeah, Zodiac, directed by David Fincher, of course, who did Seven, who did Panic Room. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Robert Gray Smith, who was in this film. He plays the dude like handing out the coffee and stuff like that too. I believe that's him. So that's very cool that he's in here. He in the documentary, yeah, when they were Fincher was doing this film and stuff like that, he went to all the locations with him everywhere. So Fincher did his homework with this one.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. as Paul Avery. He does good in here and stuff like that. He wasn't as not as Robert Downey. It's Robert Downey Jr. basically playing Robert Downey Jr. Really, he's good at kind of playing himself a bit in these parts. We'll talk about the docu-series after we give our thoughts and a story about this. But he was I think he was a vet. I think a Marine. I may be mistaken. And he was really into the Zodiac cases. He was determined in there. He was doing his research and stuff like that. Robert Downey Jr. plays a great part in here. I do agree with that. Mark Ruffalo as David Tashi, Dirty Harry. Yeah, Dirty Harry.
Amazing.
He's Dirty Harry. There's a scene in here where, yeah, that film comes out. How about that? And the Dirty Harry film comes out, which is very, very, very similar. They did that for a reason.
Yeah,
and that's great where he's all looking at that. He's like going, huh, that's me. So Clint Eastwood is playing me. That good-looking son of a bitch is playing myself. And then, Anthony Edwards from ER and from Top Gun, Goose, plays his partner, William Armstead. Brian Cox is also in here.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
And then he does a good part there as like a radio host. And then John Carroll as Arthur Lee Allen. And then he's the one that plays Jake Gyllenhaal's wife, Chloe Salvini, I believe you say it. It's filmed in Vallejo, California, San Francisco, a little bit of parts in San Francisco. So it was filmed in like the actual newspaper place in San Francisco. So, filmed around there. And then and also in Los Angeles. So there's few scenes done in Los Angeles as well. And
was any of this done near you? near where you are?
San Francisco. Yeah, I live in Livermore, California. So San Francisco's about, without traffic, about an hour away.
Okay.
And Vallejo is about 2 hours from here. My mom worked for Alameda County in the 70s. So this would be kind of past when this kind of stuff was going on. She does know about it. The budget, $65 million. Opening weekend, it didn't make that. It made $13 million opening weekend. Worldwide, $84 million. So it made it back. It made it back worldwide and stuff like that. First off, I'll give this film a solid 7 out of 10 for me. It does go a bit long.
It's long. It is very
but
long.
It's a good one. Yeah, go ahead and start us off there, Darren.
So yeah, I do want to mention Mark Ruffalo again. I think as Inspector David Toschi, I think he's fucking amazing in this film. And he's good in everything I've seen him in.
Underrated actor.
Yeah.
Underrated actor. He's also in Collateral. He plays a cop in Collateral, Tom Cruise. I recommend you all watch that one too. So he does good stuff.
He's in an underrated one called In the Cut.
I've heard of that one.
I think it's got Meg Ryan in.
Yeah.
He's a good, he plays a fucking great character in that. But yeah, like I say, this one fucking does go on long. I mean, I was writing notes for this, and no word of a lie, it's like 11 pages, so I'm not going to be going through everything.
Yeah.
But we'll start off as it starts, you know. So, and this was a director's cut as well, so this is kind of like...
Yep, that's right.
Just under 3 hours. So you've got July the 4th, 1969, Vallejo, California. So Mike McGow and his married girlfriend drive out to a lover's lane. An unknown man pulls up and flashes a light in their eyes and proceeds to shoot the pair at point blank range.
The one that plays, yeah, because she's married, so she's having an affair for her on her husband with this kid. She's very pretty. That actress is very pretty. I like that whole scene. They're all sitting there and stuff like that. Real quick, that's a spoiler. A little bit is the fact of he taped the light to the gun. So he taped the flashlight to the weapon.
Yeah.
And when he did that, done very well.
So the killer in this, pretty much was an intelligent guy. Is going to come out later. We all know, I think, by this time who's done it. So if you haven't and you're unaware of who the Zodiac killer is, keep watching, because me and Chris will probably unveil it, because I know I'm 99.9% sure.
I wasn't sure at the start, because like I say, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove, and it all had to do with fingerprints that didn't match an envelope, and that's all it took. It's crazy, but it is ongoing. San Francisco dropped it. Vallejo County did not. Yeah. It's still ongoing. So those counties it's ongoing.
They have actually mentioned that about the fingerprints, and they've said that they can't still rule half of Lee Allen out.
Yeah.
Of being the killer. But anyway, so the first guy, Mike, he survives. And then you've got the killer then taunting the police on the phone. And he tells them where the two kids are. And he presumes they're both dead as well at this point, because he said there's been a double murder. And I killed those kids.
I'm the one as well. I'm the one that killed those kids. Like I said, it doesn't do all the murders, but they talk about those murders later, specifically one that was done in 1968. We'll get to that point.
I think it's 66. Yes,
66.
Oh, it might have been 68. But yeah, around that time.
Like I say, Jake Gyllenhaal, real quick, as Robert Graysmith, does a great job here. The way he talks and stuff like that, the way he acts, just going step by step by step by step, just as Graysmith did. It's crazy.
I'm not a massive Gyllenhaal fan.
He's a unique character. Yeah, he's a unique cat.
He's perfect for this role, though.
Yeah,
he's kind of this very unassuming guy.
He's a cartoonist for the paper.
Yeah, exactly. He's a cartoonist. But so what happens then 4 weeks later is the editor receives of this paper receives an encrypted letters written by the killer. Chillingly calling himself the Zodiac. He reveals only details that the killer would know. He threatens to kill a dozen people if his coded message revealing his identity is not published in the paper. So, yes, you got Paul Avery, like you say, he's the crime reporter at the paper. He's working alongside Graysmith, who's the cartoonist. But Graysmith tells him, he says, he's not going to be mentioning his name in that message.
He's not going to mention his name. Yeah, because he's sitting there kind of in the corner, and he like looks at him kind of funny and is like, yeah.
And you've got all these top people there all over the FBI trying to decrypt this message. And funny enough, this school teacher or history teacher, I think it is, and his wife, they both decipher the message.
Yeah, literally, because they see it in the paper. They put it in the paper because they make a decision because they're talking about it of like going, has anybody else gotten this? Because you don't know, communication was lousy with these counties at this time. Same thing with Bundy. Communication was lousy, and they're thinking, yeah, we'll just put it up. And sure enough, a couple just sitting eating breakfast or whatever like that. It's like, can you decipher this? Yeah. And sure enough, they did. They said, yeah, a couple deciphered it. Yeah. That's what, when Paul Avery comes up to Graysmith and stuff like that, he goes, couple here deciphered this. He puts it down and stuff like that. That's where he mentions a film called The Dangerous Game.
Which comes into play from 1932 with Fay Wray.
Yeah.
We'll mention
I need to check out that film. Yeah.
But I can actually go through the message if you want. So
yeah, go ahead.
So he says, I like killing people because it's so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal to kill of all. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop collecting my slaves for the afterlife. Fucking chilling, man. When you
that's very Odinistic. That's very Odinistic, right? You die in a violent way, you'll go to Valhalla, where you'll like drink and have women and fight for the rest, fight forever and just be merry and stuff like that. That's kind of how that sounds. Cryptic.
It's kind of like what these extremists do today. They kill people and they say they'll have like all these virgins when they're dead. And
that's the whole idea. That's what white extremists do. Very Odinistic. Yeah, they'll go out in a blaze of glory if need be. So
he's playing with these now. He's the Zodiac killer's absolutely playing with the police. He's got them running around everywhere. There's another letter a little bit later on that reveals about the flashlight. Chris said that he tapes to a gun to execute the murders. Again, fucking chilling. And with this film as well, then you've got the first big fucking scene. I know we got that opening scene, but this is the most well-known one where you've got the couple and they're kind of on this island or they're by the sea.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is 1.5 months later in Napa, California. So you've got Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard. They're approached by a hooded man with a gun. He gets her to tie up her boyfriend. The Zodiac says he killed a guard escaping prison in Montana. He tries to give out some information.
Like he did that. That's where the dude, because he's practicing law and he's trying to say, what did you say about the prisoner or something like that? That you shot a man, trying to make conversation with him.
So do you think that was just done to put people off who he is? Or do you think there's an element to
No, I think there's something to that. There's something to that because he seems to be open, because he would only say that if he knew he was going to kill them, in my opinion. Because you slip up, that's a slip, as they call it in like psychiatry. That's a slip where they seem to have, because they think all grandiose about themselves. So they're saying, yeah, I once killed somebody and stuff like that, do that thing. It kind of comes to that part a little bit later, considering a certain person's military background a little bit, and the shoes that they're wearing and all that other stuff.
Lee Allen, did he spend time in Montana doing in prison? I'm not sure.
I forget about that one, but
I don't think it's made.
The doc goes pretty far into that, but it's what the who were children at the time knew him, and it's what they know,
right?
Unfortunately, but not whatever.
Which will come
family
into
member knows. They do mention later on in the film that a person did survive. His girlfriend died, but he didn't, and then he ended up fleeing the country, and that comes to play later.
Oh, yeah. So he repeatedly stabs both of these victims and he leaves a message on the car. Again, chilling. It's
That's right, blood, isn't it?
Yeah, and he puts I don't know if it's so much blood, but he puts the dates of the murders he's done on the car. And the last one he put September the 27th, 1969, 6:30 by knife. I mean, that's as fucking chilling.
Just thinking there's nobody there, and you have the time to do that. And
cool and comfort in his own. Do you know what I mean? Because he was stalking them from behind a tree for a while as well, and he's dressed up in the whole fucking Zodiac.
Right, because they're all just doing foreplay and stuff like that. She's the one that's mentioning there's somebody coming here, and
that's one of the most well-known kind of scenes in the
Hog ties them both.
Case.
Hog ties them both and stabs them both to death.
But he phones the police again, and tells them, you're gonna find this couple, and he tells them where the location is. I mean, a lot of the slasher films do that in the done that in the 80s. I don't know if they do it because it happened first with this. I would imagine, this was one of the first times where you would have a serial killer like taunting the police, because I can't remember anything before.
Yeah, it's crazy, just with the whole deciphers and how he writes them and stuff like that too, and it becomes like a worldwide phenomenon, at least in San Francisco wise. Like the reports that you hear on the radio and stuff like that is done very well.
Absolutely, yeah. So The Most Dangerous Game is a film, 1932. It features the villainous Count Zaroff, and he's a man who hunts human prey, like we mentioned in the Decipher with a Message, which again, I've seen that film and it's fucking great. Anyone, it's a 1932 film, black and white, but anyone who wants.
That's Fay Wray. Fay Wray had a great career. Did some horror films, like say King Kong. Everyone remembers her from that. Of course, I do. She's done some other stuff, like Pre-Code type stuff.
If you want a good proto slasher, then watch The Most Dangerous Game. But 2 weeks later, then you got this San Francisco taxi driver, Paul Stein. He's shot and killed in the city's Presidio Heights district. And that was a fucking chilling.
That is a great scene because he shoots him, right? And I love when that's when they introduce you to the detectives, and he positions him. He goes out, and then he goes right around that corner, and they tell you about that whole situation later on in there, which is like, oh shit, like because they did have him in the dock. He was stopped by the police. They let him go. He was stopped because they got false information, but he literally walked out right in their direction. And you get the phone call, like somebody was shot outside the house, where they go, like I say, because kids saw it. So
they were watching.
It's a great scene, shot for shot. That's a great scene. Fincher is very good with that overhead stuff. He is very good. I like that way of filmmaking. You could probably do that with drones now. It's different when you do it right and stuff like that, where you just see the person like from overhead and stuff like that. And you're thinking, I know I can see him. Because with 4K, you're thinking, oh, I can see him. But no, they do a great job of hiding his face. With the opening scene, they do a great job of hiding his face. The shadows are almost perfectly. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Because they had to have seen who he was. So
I was going to say, so he's got so confident at this stage now that he hasn't even got,
after that situation, he's thinking, well, shit. It's like, do you want to catch me? So it's like you're giving him like free whatever like that.
They literally fucking had him as well. They literally had him. They drove past him, which is kind of crazy. Because the suspect was a white male, glasses, stocky, wearing a black jacket, and he had a crew cut. This is what the kid said.
Yeah, they thought he was black at first. Yeah.
I was going to say, for some reason, one of the police officers thought he was black. So they completely just let him, completely drove past this guy. It's unbelievable. Like
he taunts him in a letter. He taunts him in a letter after that while you were all racing down the street, and all this other stuff in your police cars and all this shit. I'm like, damn, son, that's a shots fired.
He fucking cuts off. He's so kind of calculated in this kill that he cuts a bit of the taxi driver's shirt.
Yeah,
and then he tells them,
mails it to him.
He mails it to them and tells them that he's got a piece of his shirt. He says, I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay area. The San Francisco police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly instead of holding road races with their motorcycles. And he spells motorcycles wrong as well.
Yes, there's two S's and stuff like Christmas. He writes one for Christmas, and it's Christ Mass.
Christ Mass, that's it.
Yeah, Christ Mass.
And what's chilling about the end of this fucking message now is because he starts off with this is the Zodiac speaking, but he mentions how he's going to wipe out these school kids.
He's going to, what is it, the little darlings out as they walk out, going to kill them one by one, shoot them one by one. Yeah.
Just shoot out the front tire and then pick them off. The kiddies as they come bouncing out, which is fucking ruthless, man.
Can I say with the whole cabbie kill and stuff like that? That's great acting, and that's great police work where they're going blood everywhere and no fingerprints. No fingerprints. He's laid, was it on the passenger side outward? Like he's positioned. He's like, so how did he? I like stuff like this. I like say Law and Order SVU type stuff, is like, okay, so Ruffalo's character, because one of the guys is there and stuff like that. He says, just sit here. So how do I do that? I shoot you in the back. He's like, so you're in the back seat. So you're shooting him in the back of the head. Did he take anything? No, nothing. I don't believe anything was taken, right? So nothing was taken. Like he positions it. It's baffling where they're like, well, holy shit. Yeah, that's where, like you say, that's where the secretary in the paper gets the note and stuff like that. That's where she screams and whatever like that. That's when they call everybody in. So everybody knows each other. So they call the detectives in and stuff like that too. And he goes, yeah. So whose blood is that? It's his. Yeah.
There is like a partial finger. They think they found a partial fingerprint at this point. But pretty much the kids as well, when they're describing him as well, they say, well, what did he look like? And they say he just looked like a normal man. He's just like a normal man, which is chilling as well.
That's where that's when Detective Edward Armstead starts calling these other places. And I forget, there's two places that he calls. I recognize the dude from the one county that he calls, and then the other dude I've seen in other films like Blade and stuff like that too. I keep on forgetting his name. Two good actors there, and he's like, you need to call this. That's how you did it back then. It's like, need to call this, and what do you have and stuff like that. And this is before you literally did tit for tat. Well, if you're going to do something for me, or do something for you, you have to give me something back and forth and stuff like that. I do like that where he looks. Anthony Edwards, he's a good actor. He just looks tired. It's just like, okay, what do you have and stuff like that? Trying to find this information to try to help and stuff like that with this other stuff. So
they do find boot prints of the killer as well at one point.
Yes, that's what he's calling about too, where he says, I have boot prints. That's from, was it a wingtip? I think it is. That's used on planes.
Right.
That's used for working on planes. So you walk on planes with these shoes. That's a trip. Yeah.
So the Zodiac then says he will be calling the KGO TV morning talk show to speak with lawyer Melvin.
KGO Channel 7. Yep.
Yeah, I don't even know that. Obviously, I'm from the UK, but Brian Cox plays that fucking Melvin Belly, and he's amazing as well.
He's a great actor. He's done a lot of things. He does the McDonald's commercials. He does the McDonald's commercials now. That's his voice. That's him.
He played Hannibal Lecter as well in Manhunt. You gotta say that. Yeah.
Right. That's when he was young. Damn, I haven't seen that film in a while. I have to recheck it out.
Well, even then, he was kind of. I think he was still in his 40s. Like he's like older than you think. But,
he was in the Bourne. He was in the Bourne films too, in a few of those.
No, I haven't seen those. But the killer says his name is Sam, and he's getting these headaches, and he doesn't want to go to the gas chamber.
Yeah, it's a funny scream where he's like all yelling in the street. He's like, ah. He's like, what happened? He's like, I got a
and
headache.
He wants to arrange a meet with this guy as well. He wants to meet this lawyer at this
in this diner.
Yeah. Which is crazy. They then get another letter. So again, I'll just go through this one.
Yeah.
So I shall change my way of collecting slaves. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, killing of anger, and a few fake accidents. etc., etc. Spelt wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
The police shall never. That was kind of his thing. He was spelled.
Yeah, that
wrong.
was his thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The police shall never catch me because I've been too clever for them. I look like the description passed out only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. I shall not tell you what my disguise consists of when I kill. As of yet, I have left no fingerprint behind me. Contrary to what the police say, I wear transparent fingerprints. All of it is 2 coats of airplane cement coated on my fingertips. I enjoy needling the blue pigs. Hey, blue pig, I was in the park. You were using fire trucks to mask the sound of your cruising prowl cars. Hey, pig, doesn't it rile you that you have your nose rubbed in your boo-boos, which is interesting.
Yeah.
If you cops think I'm going to take on a bus the way I stated, you deserve to have holes in your heads. Like, man. I know that's a bit long and rambly, but I gotta get that over, like, you know. Yeah.
One thing when they're taking Cox to the station to do the stuff and stuff like that, they all have them hidden, like under, like have them all down. The media's already there. All this other stuff too. And, like I say, they go to this diner. You have helicopters and everything all over the place. That you knew that wasn't going to work. He goes, boy, you guys have a good way of being like subtle and everything, don't you? And all this other stuff too. That comes back. Yeah. His character comes back later because he gets a letter on Christmas, which is very interesting, which comes back to play later as well, which is a huge break in that case.
I think Graysmith works out this clue as well, where there's a book called the Zodiac Alphabet, and he works out that that's probably what the killer's been reading.
Yeah, when he talks to give me a second. When he talks to Avery, like, at this bar, whatever, like that, as he's all Downey Jr. being Downey Jr., all sniffing cocaine and drinking and all this other stuff too. I do believe Avery did die of cancer in real life, but he was a great reporter. He was a great reporter, and he wanted to crack this case. He would do anything and everything to do that. And that's where you see Graysmith bring out all these books on like psychology and all this other stuff of why they do what they do. And he's the one that mentions when he's deciphering, when the couple deciphered the thing, the most dangerous game. He's like, is a film. What? The most dangerous game stars this person and that person. You have photos of it, of the film. That goes to a whole different direction on that film. Exactly. And then, it's done very well. While his character is like he will never admit it, but he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I have to admit, that's pretty good. Great sleuthing. Graysmith was very good. How about that? But that's it is obsessive. It borders on insanity. Like, you have to go deep into that.
There's a thing as well where the killer at one point was talking to the lawyer's housekeeper.
Yes.
And he said
that was great. So many years later. Yeah. Which we'll come on. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
But we've got to come on to the scene. So 2.5 months later after that, now they're on Highway 132 near Modesto, California, March 22nd, 1970.
This is the best. This is the best scene. This is the best scene. This is the best segment in the film, in my opinion. This is terrifying.
Yeah, go on. Do you want to say it or me?
Yeah. So it's a woman who's driving on the freeway, and there's a car behind her. Tells her kind of to pull over and stuff like that too. And she does. He comes up there and says, one of your tires is loose. I'll redo it. And she's like, okay, thank you. That's where she turns, and it's in the front seat. That's her baby. Now, he says, thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. You're all good to go. As soon as she starts driving, that tire is gone. And he's like, it must be worse than I thought. I can give you a ride to the nearest station. Thank you. That's where you see the baby. He doesn't see the baby. And it's like, it goes in there. They start driving, and then he's annoyed already. And they go past the whatever like that, just past it. And he goes, before I kill you, I'm going to throw the baby out the window. That's where the scene. That's where the scene just fades to that.
That is fucked up.
You see a semi parked, and you see this woman driving up. I think it's in a truck and stuff like that. Pulled over. What happens? Says she stopped me. She was right in the middle of the freeway and stuff like that. And she's hysterical. My baby, my baby, my baby. That's where you hear the baby crying.
So
she says, I had to toss my baby out the window. I tossed my baby out the window and jumped out of the car. I was like, holy shit. That's great.
Up, man.
Yeah.
And then she's hiding.
She didn't describe him. So that was the thing. She didn't describe him.
Right. Yeah. I noticed that as well. That is one hell of a scene, like you say, just to jump in from the car and basically just trying to survive, basically. But 30 days after that, so a month later, now we get another letter from San Francisco. This is the Zodiac speaking. By the way, have you cracked the last cipher I sent you? I'm mildly curious as to how much money you have on my head now. Yeah. I hope you do not think I was the one who ate that blue meanie with the bomb in the cop station, even though I talked about killing children with one. So, like, unrelated incident of where.
Yeah, unrelated. That's chilling that they mentioned that. Yeah, it's very chilling.
Because he did mention it, didn't he?
California was like I say, this is the 70s. This is like before the whole Watergate scandal. This was the most tumultuous decade in our country's history, in my opinion. The 70s was pretty bad. People like to bitch and complain about this, these decades that we have right now. No, don't give me that. When the bicentennial of our country is happening and our president is being looked at for all kinds of criminal reasons, that's not good.
So the messages keep coming thick and fast now, and he goes off on one message about people wearing pins of the Zodiac.
Yeah,
like it's completely fucking random. Like, just goes off on one saying he wants people to wear pins, and so basically to acknowledge him, because he gets off being acknowledged.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, pins. Yeah,
which is crazy. Another one.
He says, I want. Like, who's ever wearing a pin, I won't shoot, or something like that. I think it is, or I won't like do whatever like that. Yeah.
But another one he sends them is, this is the Zodiac speaking. I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a 38 Zodiac 12. I don't know what that means, but oh yeah, right. Sorry, I shot a man sitting in a parked car with an A38. He's got Zodiac 12, police nil, like in terms of his scoring.
Man, yeah. Just like Dennis Rader. Yeah, just like Dennis Rader. Yeah, same type of the thing. It's just
he gives them a map coupled with this code. It
RTK.
will tell you where this bomb is. And you have until next fall to dig it up. I don't think anything come of that bomb.
No, next fall, because this goes in spurts of months, because you don't hear nothing from this dude for like.
No, there's constantly like 4 weeks later, and all this going on. But yeah, like you say, well, I know all the way with this. I mean,
Avery gets Paul Avery gets a letter later, but he gets a tip from somebody to go see them, and then I forget kind of what happens there, because he does a report and stuff like that, which like in the film is not the best idea to do, where it kind of blew stuff up a little bit and made it public. So there's stuff that goes on there.
He gets like a Halloween card first, doesn't he? Paul Avery receives that Halloween card.
Yeah.
And it says, I feel it in my bones. You wait to know my name, and so I'll clue you in. But then why spoil the game? Happy Halloween.
That's where he goes. He wants a gun and all this stuff too. Yeah. He's all trying to shoot. He can't shoot worth a shit. And he goes with a pen that says, I'm not Paul Avery. He goes, you should sell these. You'd make money. You should do this. You do well from doing this and stuff like that too. And he's like all looking at him like, you asshole.
The thing is, it all boils down to the fact as well that Avery called the Zodiac a fucking homosexual as well.
Yeah, he called him a homo. Yeah, he said you did call him a homo. Like literally, David tells him that he's like, oh, and you did call him a homo. It's
which is crazy. But you've got Graysmith and you've got a little bit of like, he meets up on a date with this girl, Melanie. I won't go too much into that, but he's obviously just obsessed with this case, even on the date.
Yeah, on the date he is, where he's like,
he's just completely obsessed.
Like, as a phone booth, he's like, oh, we could take it to go. He's like, are you trying to take me home and all this other stuff too? He's like, well, just take it to go.
Right, exactly. But Graysmith obviously goes on a date, but Avery has like tipped him off because he's found out now that there's evidence that the Zodiac's first killing was actually in 1966.
Yes,
you kind of go around
with a girl that everyone knew about and stuff like that too. You probably have her name. That gets deep into that. That's where it gets kind of long in the film. But yeah,
so it's Cherry Jo Bates. She attended Riverside Community College. She studied at the library on the night of the 30th of October, 1966.
Yes.
She leaves with an unidentified man at closing at 9 p.m. Her body's found next morning in the parking lot, stabbed to death. Her car is disabled. Someone cut the coil in the distributor. The battery died. That someone comes back to offer help. So, which is crazy, and he sends a tight note.
They always go back to the crime scene. They'll always do that. They'll always do that. Yeah,
like he did with Kathleen Johns. But he sends a tight note written to the Riverside Press Enterprise. So this is literally before they think the Zodiac's appeared, and pretty much they run it. He says, "I am not sick. I am insane, but that you will not stop the game. This letter should be published for all to read."
The district that they go to, the sheriff or the police chief of that district says this isn't your guy, where they fight over that. It's like they fight over that. Like Ruffalo's character is pissed off. He's like, are you kidding me? Is like, it's not him. Because they had a suspect. They tell him we had a suspect, but we don't think it's him. It's not him. Because he's a stubborn old man, and he's like, no, it can't be him, type of a thing. That's where the acting gets pretty good, because they're frustrated as hell. It's like, come on, we're like blocked out of here. We don't get this information. Give me a break, type of situation there.
Because with that killing as well, like 6 months later, her father, the police, and the paper keep receiving notes from this killer.
Then it stops.
Enough that janitor finds that note written on that wood.
Yes.
And it's done in the same fucking handwriting as the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Which is like really strange, because there's a comment they say is like, why would you fucking do your own type of handwriting on a piece of wood?
That shows how confident he is. That's the scary part. How confident you think he's like going, come on now, really? I can do this? It's like, let me try it, right? Literally in their narcissistic mind, that's what they're thinking. It's like, well, shit, if they can't catch me, I can do literally anything. I'll just put this in broad daylight. See what happens. Like, you know?
Yeah. But they say it's not specified whether it was the Zodiac. I don't think they even know, do they, at this point, certainly in the film. But you've got lots of crankpots coming out again, giving wrong.
Yeah, a woman that said that and stuff like that, where she's like, I killed him with like this and stuff. The Zodiac killed with this. Like, oh, you know.
Yeah, you've got that one drunk guy as well. He starts talking about hunting people. But he tells the police, is it the one guy? Didn't he tell the police about he's seen, or he heard someone say about hunting people, about how they put the lights at the end of a gun so they can see.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Of course, his vanity.
He's talking about Happily Allen.
Yeah, his vanity gets in the way.
Oh yeah. He's talking about Happily Allen.
But you got to make this perfectly clear too. The notes that he's sending, the letters that he's sending, he's obviously wearing gloves. He's being smart about it, except one partial that you find out about later that they couldn't match correctly. So it's just crazy how articulate the killer was. It's nuts. Only a film David Lynch could do, or not David Lynch, David Fincher could do. David Lynch wouldn't do anything like this, but
this guy was obviously friends with Arthur Lee Allen, and he gave it. Literally, Arthur Lee Allen said everything that was going to happen. Like even his nickname is going to be the Zodiac.
Right. They talked to his brother and his wife.
Right.
They talked to some other people that kind of point him out. That's where they go with the other detectives or the other police chief in the other district too, because he works at a mill, right? Or no, oil plant somewhere, some industrial
like that.
place.
Yeah. But he says Arthur Lee Allen was raw about losing his job at the school.
And what did he do it for? Touching
Yeah,
children. He's a
exactly.
pedophile. Yeah.
So he lost his job due to being a pedophile. And he talked at the time after losing his job that he wanted to shoot out the tires of a school bus and pick off the little darlings. He said this time, not
yeah,
kiddies.
little darlings. One. He corrects him on that. He's like, "You sure he said that?" Yes, he said that exactly like that because they have to make sure that it's correct.
So this is the part of the film where we get to see Arthur Lee Allen. And he was into diving, weirdly enough. This is all real as well. This is
yes, he was into diving. He was quite well versed in a lot of things, sailboating, all this other
fishing,
stuff too.
Yeah, fishing.
Yep.
So what I find quite bizarre about even the real life case is that the guy was a diver, yet he did not look physically like what you would imagine a diver to look. You know, someone fit would look like.
John Carroll does a great job playing him. He walks into, like, they're all getting ready, like, how are we going to go about this, you know, and stuff like that. They're discussing how they're going to go about this and stuff like that. They start talking with them and stuff like that too. They notice the shoes. The one dude notices the shoes. He's looking down because I know what they're doing. They're profiling him. Oh, like he's oblivious to it, but he knows. And then it comes to the part of the watch. But I'll let you continue on from there, Darren.
Yeah. So the Zodiac watch, but so he's a child molester. He's ambidextrous as well. So this comes in with the left and right.
Yeah, he mentions that he's left-handed. He says he's not ambidextrous. He's left-handed, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
yeah. But like you say, Toschi, Armstrong, and Melinex, they question him about the Zodiac. He likes car racing. That was a real thing as well that happened in the real case. But like you say, he was wearing a Zodiac watch. The Most Dangerous Game is also his favorite book.
He's like, the Most Dangerous Game, because he mentions that. He's like, the Most Dangerous Game, great book.
And he brings up the pigs reference as well, doesn't he?
Yes.
He brings up a pigs reference with the police. But like you said earlier, his brother says that he'll search Lee Allen's apartment to see if he can find anything. You said the thing about he spells Christmas the wrong way.
It was a trailer that he had, like in a trailer park type of a thing, like in this desert type area. It's crazy.
Yeah. You got this writing expert comes in then, and there's a lot of like, the writing expert doesn't believe it's him, but the police do, and they kind of go against each other.
The writing expert, I forget his name. He's a good actor too. You find out later that guy maybe drank a little bit too much, and he said, yeah, it wouldn't work. Grace Smith goes to him these years later and stuff like that, and tries to, saying if you could decipher this, blah, blah, blah. We're kind of talking past tense here a little bit, but.
No, so Arthur Lee Allen's sister-in-law tells the police then he's living in this trailer. Also, she says that he's into doing ciphers, and he used to be a chemist, which comes into the equation with the bomb and all that. So now they're kind of honing in on Arthur Lee Allen now. And I know it, like me and Chris are gonna say I think
because he goes there and he mentions to the police chief, this is our guy, and they can't get the judge to do it. And it just comes to the fact it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Says we need fingerprints, we need this. Like say they do go to his trailer, and oh boy.
Man, yeah, there's fucking like all these dead squirrels in the fridge, live squirrels running around.
Yeah, that's what they do. They do make that noise. They make that noise if they're feeling threatened and stuff like that. You see that poor squirrel in that cage and stuff like that. Means he's hunting them and eating them.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what serial killers start, by killing animals. A lot of them do anyway. But like you say, there's no evidence. There is a great scene, like you said earlier, with the Dirty Harry. So basically, Dirty Harry's playing at the local cinema. Graysmith meets Toshe in the foyer. I think that's the first time they ever meet. Isn't it?
That's crazy. Where he's just like he's watching it, and it's that one scene where they're reading off what's going on, and they mention the N-word in the film that the person wrote down and stuff like that too. And he's like, I can't take this. I'm just going out there. He's like going, hi, how are you? I'm like going, dude, it's Dirty Harry. It's literally Dirty Harry. And I always thought that was kind of cool, like an homage to that.
Graysmith says the last line he says to Toshi is, "You're going to catch the killer.
You're going to catch him."
And then literally it jumps 4 years later then.
Yeah, because you get this, the screen goes black, and then you hear the Nixon, I'm not a crook, and all this other stuff too. It goes up to what, 75?
Yeah.
And there's a reason. There's a reason for that.
77, I think.
Yeah.
77. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but like I say, there's a reason for that. Like you say, those whole time skips. There's a big reason for that. We're going to.
I was going to say, so we could mention it now. So Arthur Lee Allen at this time was actually put in prison.
He was put in prison. Yeah.
So it all fucking adds up. They didn't know this in the film or while they're investigating at the time, I don't think. Or do they actually mention that? They mention it, actually.
He sent David a letter. He sent him a letter saying,
that's right, yeah.
He sent him a letter saying that he got out. He sent him a letter basically taunting him. He says, yeah, I got a letter. Yeah.
That's
He's
right.
Like, he sent me a letter. Which makes you think, could you match the fingerprints? Because of the letter.
Right.
Could you match the fingerprints? Yeah.
But this guy is so fucking Arthur Lee Allen is so intelligent. He's just one step ahead of him. And you've got to realize as well, like that other case, this even like in 46, but this was in the 60s or 70s where, DNA wasn't a thing, it's a hard thing to catch these people with Bundy and all them, but at this time now, so Bill Armstrong, the other officer on the case, he wants out. He says,
he's like, I'm going to do something else. I can't do this anymore. So he says, basically, keep the car. He says, keep the car. Yeah.
Because I want to see my kids grow up. This is not doing my health any good, pretty much.
Yeah.
Graysmith is now married to Melanie, and I think they have a little baby. They have at least 3 or 4 children together.
Yeah, because he had a kid already from a previous marriage.
He was a single father, at one point. He tracks down Avery on this boat, and it's quite a sad scene actually because he's just this complete drunk.
Because he wants to be part of this task. They kind of do it bad in the film because he wants to be part of this task force, and he says, "You're going to lead that." He's like, "Whatever, like that." He's like, "Sober up, just get better and stuff like that too." And that was basically it for him and stuff,
Yeah,
like that takes him in his boat and sees the Pong thing playing and stuff like that. He goes, "My kids would kill for that," and all this other stuff too. Yeah,
that's where Graysmith tells him about writing the book.
Yes, he decides to write the book because that's what David tells him to do. He goes, "Write the book," because he's trying to tell him all these clues and stuff like that. He goes, "Write the book."
And Avery does last a good few years later, but it's quite a sad end. They do show a scene with him near the end where he's on. Yeah,
he's literally in the bar because he no longer gives a shit. I know that's not kind of how it kind of ended for him. Maybe it did. He probably did get depressed out of the whole case, which is too bad because I do believe he was in the doc. They said he was like a veteran, an Army veteran and stuff like that too. So he was very articulate. He knew what he was doing, but obsessiveness, and it leads to that,
Yeah, very, very sad. So Graysmith visits Toski to discuss the Zodiac case. They've not heard of the Zodiac for the last 3 years. The books on the ciphers were stolen from the library.
Yes, he mentions that's where he first meets him, and he goes, all these were stolen. They weren't checked out because they mentioned that. Another reference to 7. Freeman mentions that. Yeah. He mentions that, like, say you rent out Mein Kampf from a library. They keep track of that because, like, why the hell are you even borrowing that book or whatever like that unless you plan on doing something. It's like crazy.
Yeah. And all the officers in the case are kind of, they've got no more leads to go on. And they kind of let Graysmith unofficially get hold of like the evidence because they want him to, even though
just when it comes to the head where he tells David, the police chief, he tells David and stuff like that when they can't get the thing from the judge and stuff like that, where he's just all pissed off. He's like going, take a vacation, give it up, it's over. And you're like, man, you feel so defeated and all this other stuff. Yeah, it was just done.
So Darlene, who was shot in the earlier case, like pretty much the Zodiac was leaving like heavy breathing phone calls to her family just after the murders. And they do think that she actually knew the killer. The Zodiac called the Belly House and told the maid he was the Zodiac and wanted to kill on his birthday. And they kind of narrow his birthday down to like between December.
That's where he's sitting there waiting for like, it's only been 2 hours. And that's where she called. He wasn't here when you called. And what did he say?
That was one of his.
It was his birthday or something like that. And then they found out, later on, it comes to light.
That was one of his very rare errors, I would say,
that's a slip. Yeah. It only takes one and it always happens. Always happens.
And to me, that's the final evidence that it was fucking Arthur Lee Allen, which we'll come on to. But so, you've got this thing, the whole thing with the handwriting expert keeps going on. They're not sure, and Graysmith is actually told that the Zodiac is this guy called Rick Marshall at this point, who's a film star, who records the murders by camera, which kind of puts the whole fucking case now just no one knows where to look.
It's like it makes you think then there was more than one person, but like I say.
Oh yeah. So the handwriting expert then Rick says that Rick Marshall is the Zodiac. Completely
because he has this big flipping magnifying glass. He goes to another guy too. He goes, can you do this and stuff like that? He goes to another guy because the other dude, he said, tried because he was a drunk dude and like a lot of his stuff is like whatever like that. And gets another opinion and stuff like that. Says, I need this. If you can get this for me, because I like it because Ruffalo's character is as David tells him, he's like going, like, I can't talk about the case. I can't talk about so and so who's at this address. Like there's one scene where he goes to this one district. He goes, take your pins out. You're not writing anything down. Here you go. So I'm going to walk away now. And that was based off actual fact where we're just going to sit here where, Graysmith goes in there and he said that too. He's like, these guys bring me in here. He goes, you have a certain amount of time. We're not looking. Do what you have to do and get the F out of here. So,
but, going back to like this guy, so this guy used to write the movie posters at the cinema that they were playing these old films in.
How about that?
The one thing is with the handwriting, the one letter did not match the K for some reason. So that put the whole theory of this Robert Marshall in doubt.
One of the interesting comments is like, who has a basement in San Francisco?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So they actually end up San Francisco Chronicle get a new letter then from the Zodiac. This is the Zodiac speaking. I am back with you. Tell Herb Keane I am here. I have always been here. That city pig Tosky is good, but I am smarter and better. He will get tired, then leave me alone. I am waiting for a good movie. I am waiting for a good movie about me. Who will play me? I am now in control of all things. Yours truly, the fucking Zodiac sign.
That's what done him in as an officer. That's when they bring in Internal Affairs because they thought he was the one that wrote it, which makes it even worse. That's where he gets pissed, where Graysmith calls him and the wife answers and stuff like that. And he just hangs up the phone. He goes, I'm not. No. I'll kill you.
Yeah, it makes no sense why he would forge that. Anyway.
Why he would do that, where he goes, well, literally because they think it was him, probably because he did go to the theater and he did watch the film. He's like, who would play me? Who would the pig, Toski, who would play him, who would play me, and stuff like that. It's gonna be a great film, and all this other shit. I was like, damn, yeah.
I think he's later on. He's exonerated of that anyway.
Yeah, no, he was. They said that he was totally exonerated for that. Yeah.
So at this point now, Graysmith is still so kind of wrapped up in all this. He's even got his kids working the case with him in the kitchen.
Yeah,
that's a weird scene as well. But Melanie's just not happy, and she ends up leaving him, doesn't she? At one point,
it's because he does get phone calls. So he did call his house where you just hear breathing.
Yeah, the heavy breathing.
Don't hear it. Yeah, he called the house, or we think he called the house. We don't know. It could have been somebody that had his number, but I'm thinking it was him that was doing that, like saying, "You better lay the F off. You better do it." I'm just saying.
He makes a big mistake as well, Graysmith. Then he puts himself on the news. So
yeah, he does.
So the killer knows exactly who he is.
He's like, "Look, you're on the news," because they mentioned the book. Because you said the book is everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. But you've got another scene as well where Graysmith meets this guy, the cinema guy, Rick Marshall.
Yeah.
And Rick
he meets
says,
him like in the rain somewhere, like out of the theater, I think it is, or somewhere where he's at and stuff like that in the rain. He goes, "You have a car?" He's like, "Just follow me here." I'm like, okay.
And this
good
guy's
actor.
Place,
That's good actor.
Brilliant. This guy's place is pretty much like the fucking Buffalo Bills in Silence of the Lambs. It's
almost
really
like a cinema person's like dream, really, historian wise. If you have actual film and stuff like that, yeah, it's definitely an old school house, though. I like those houses. So you have a nice house here. Yeah.
There's a story of that film canister as well, which I think the killer's supposed to have given him and told him never to open it.
Yeah,
but
he says he said he brought it back. He said he came and repurchased it. He was scared shitless at this point.
So after Lee Allen had gone back in 1972 and reclaimed it, he says he was the one who wrote the posters, Most Dangerous Game poster, ran for 9 weeks before the first Zodiac killing in 1969. So this was within like them playing that film, and the first Zodiac kill was like weeks in. So they think that might have inspired the killings, the film. So, but like you say, there's doubt then when we think 2 killers. Now is there 2 killers? So yeah, you've got that coming in.
Yeah, he runs out and stuff like that. He doesn't even get his coat. I noticed that he didn't even get the coat. I almost thought maybe that was a scene in the full director's cut version where he'd like go, "Hey, wait a minute, you forgot this," or something like that, because that would have been perfect. But no, he just got the bleep out of there. That's when he gets a fax or whatever it is of Lee's ID. Yeah, and then he sees the birthday on there. That's where it gets very interesting.
That's where, the penny drops type of thing. Yeah. But Graysmith, he meets Linda, who's Darlene, one of the earlier victims, the first victim, I believe. So her friend Linda's in prison. Graysmith goes to meet her. She says about one guy Darlene was hanging around with was really weird. He used to bring her presents from like Asia or whatever.
She mentions a party where everybody's like, it's like a not like a Halloween party or something like that. Yeah, and he's the one that's coming in with the suit, and he's just sitting there, just totally separate from everything.
Right? Yeah, like this painting party. But he actually says, "Well, wasn't his?" She said, "Oh, his name was something small." Like he says, "Was his name Rick?" And she says, "No."
Yeah, he tries to make her.
Was Rick. Yeah,
he's trying to make her say that.
She says, "No." And then she says, just as he's about to leave, she said, "It was Lee. It was Lee." Yeah. And then again, the penny drops again.
Because she said that in the, Arthur says that in the interview and stuff like that. "Just call me Lee." Okay.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like you said, before he leaves, he's like, "You know what? It's not true what they say about you. You're not pigs," and stuff like that. He's like,
"Right.
Thank you."
So he goes running off into the middle of the night now to get all the records, and the police like turn a blind eye, like you said, and let him look at all the records.
That's when he calls Joski. Yeah.
Yeah. By this point as well, Graysmith's lost his job as the cartoonist. His whole like place is just a mess where he's like researching this killer and everything. he visits Tosky, like you say, to tell him it's Arthur Lee Allen. And he's like a memorable
He
scene
describes it. Well, finally, he goes
Yeah.
like, because he knocks at the door. He's getting up. He's like going, I'm going to kill him. Where's my piece at? Where's my gun? He goes, he tells him his birthday. This is his birthday. And he's like, meets him in a diner. And he does it bit by bit. He lived at his mother's house in her basement, literally right next to her house.
Right next to this Darlene, the victim.
Right next to Darlene's house. The way he describes it is so good. And you see Ruffalo's character just smile. And he's like, that's damn good police work. And he just basically tells him, write the book.
Tosky even, because when he's digging up this evidence as well, he refers to like a letter that Arthur Lee Allen had actually sent Tosky, typewritten letter saying, Dear David, if I can be of any help in any way, let me know. I'm sorry I wasn't your man. But that's what fucking serial killers do. They try to help.
Of course. Yeah. And they always mention that. They always mention, I'm not the Zodiac. I'm not this person. I'm not this person. Who would do that? I'm not this person. It's crocodile tears. It's shallow affect. It's everything. Really that's, and then it does a time skip to 81, 82.
83, yeah. In
83.
California. So Graysmith's got to find out for himself now. So he tracks down. Before this actually, Alan is arrested and put away. They get no letters while he's inside. We said that for like a 3-year period. Like you say, in 83, then he tracks him down to this hardware store. And Arthur Lee Allen's his sales clerk. And basically, you've got that scene where he
says, "Can I help you?" And they're just staring at each other.
And they both know who each other are.
Yeah,
he knows he's the
like,
fucking Zodiac.
He's like, I know. He's like, I know who you are. It's almost like this, like pointing at him. It's like, it's
And weirdly enough, then it jumps another like 7.5 years later.
97?
91.
91.
16.
Yeah, in
Ontario.
Canada? Yeah, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, the airport. Yeah.
So Graysmith's book now is the bestseller called The Zodiac. But this one earlier guy comes forward and he identifies Lee Allen from this police mugshot.
He sits down. Yeah, he does like a percentage wise. It's like, how sure are you?
He went missing for a long time, didn't he? And he just popped up.
No, he did. No, he skipped the country because he was scared shitless. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But following the evidence, authorities scheduled a meeting to discuss and charge Arthur Lee Allen with all these murders. Sadly,
he died of a massive heart attack. He was diabetic. He was diabetic. He was on dialysis for the longest time. We're going to get to that in a minute, but yeah.
But like you say, these serial killers, like the first film, they get away, just fucking really lucky. You've got to be really lucky to get away.
Yeah.
And he pretty much was hours away from being fucking arrested and put to trial,
Put the trial.
They
would have convicted him.
Oh God,
they would have convicted him. They would have convicted him.
No courthouse, no judge I know that would not have found him fucking guilty. He's 100. I want to say 100%, but to me, he's like 99.9. There's always an element with any case, I guess,
Basically,
unless they fully admit it, which he doesn't.
Yeah.
In 2002, just to jump the case on a little bit further, there was a partial DNA profile that did not match Allen. It was developed,
which is crazy. Which means probably it was a crime. It happened with Henry Lee Lucas, right? We don't know how many people he killed. If he killed, he killed a few. But there's other stuff that they found out was done by other people. Thank God for that. That's when forensics works. Props to those people that do that. But yeah, it's crazy.
This is what I'm saying to you, like 99.9, because they developed it from a 33-year-old Zodiac envelope. Where the envelope. And then it's so weird, even though 2004, the San Francisco Police Department actually they deactivated the whole thing, the whole fucking Zodiac investigation.
Yeah, Vallejo and the other county are still open.
They still believe that he was the killer, even with the there's just little bits of the evidence that don't match up. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, today this is up until 2007. The case remains open.
Of course, David Tashi later retired, and like Robert Graysmith, he's doing good for himself still and stuff like that. The doc recently, they talked with him. He's doing all good with his kids and stuff like that. Probably all grown up right now and all this other stuff as well.
I think he split up with the wife as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, Paul Avery, of course, he did die of cancer.
I think it was a pulmonary emphysema because he couldn't breathe when he was.
Yeah, he couldn't breathe. But
did he die of cancer? The real Paul Avery?
It was kind of like that, but like you say, definitely lung problems and stuff like that too. And
he was 66 years of age. His ashes were scattered by his family in San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, so Robert Graysmith, the dude's a hero. Yeah, what else can you say? You keep on going when other ones did it. And like I say, David Toschi, what a badass. I tell you, like I say, without him, we wouldn't get Dirty Harry. We wouldn't get Clint Eastwood's character like that, Harry Callahan. And,
honestly, I think he's like, I know I said it earlier, I can't say it enough, really. I think Mark Ruffalo in this deserves a fucking Oscar, man. He is so good. So good. I didn't take notes on the actual Netflix documentary. I don't know. Did you? Did you take?
Not really notes wise, but I did watch it all, and I dig this stuff. So basically, this is the Zodiac speaking. Talks about the time when he was a teacher and the kids that knew him, and he wasn't married to her, but he was with a woman and her children on and off for quite a while. They had a relationship, and they talked to the kids about Arthur Lee Allen. There's the scene with the murder of the couple. He parked. Now, I forget the car that he had. That's the one thing I think the film didn't kind of do is he had a vehicle. It was like a black, really nice car. Okay, and one of the kids said, who later at the end of that died of cancer, like terminal cancer, which is crazy. He said he would just ramp that sucker up. And he did diving. He did all this stuff too. There was that situation where he told them to stay in the car. Obviously, they didn't stay in the car.
He
went down, and then he went back up. There was blood on him, as the girl said, as the woman said.
Yeah.
And with her, there was talk that he molested her. She doesn't recall that. I think that's childhood trauma, that he sexually molested her. Of course, stuff came out like
he was drugging them. He was drugging her and her brother. Yeah.
When he was a teacher in class, he wrote stuff like M. What does M represent? It'd be like some different funky like sign, Zodiac sign. What does this? What is this? There was a song he used to play, in a record player. There was that one, which was like classical tune from a film. They mentioned that. Sorry about that. This just all comes to mind. But I do like the docuseries. It's in 3 parts. I recommend it. There's a lot of stuff. The interviews of them talking to him in the 90s, the one KTVU reporter, like I remember her and talking to him where it was blurted out, but then you see footage of her talking to him, him letting her in. They found bombs in his house, like pipe bombs in his house. They found all this stuff. This dude was obviously paranoid. The interview with him is very telling. He has shallow affect. He's not crying. He puts his hands over there and stuff like that. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Why are you acting like that?
Yeah.
It's like I've been hounded. They hound me all the time. He was on dialysis. And then they got the call that he passed in 92. Was it again? I'm sorry. I'm
not sure what year.
Because he said
it was in the 90s.
Because the woman who's all grown up, had kids, went up to go see him. So they were close to each other. They lived kind of close and stuff like that too. And she says she asked him when it was just those two on the boat, because he had a sailboat and stuff like that too. Really nice boat. Are you the Zodiac and stuff like that too? He says, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you. That's what he told her. Now, and there's, like I said, there was talk that he was molesting the young girls there and stuff like that too. He was definitely shady towards children.
What he would do, so his partner, his girlfriend or whatever, they were her 2 kids. So took a shine to the little girl.
Yes.
But what he would do is he would drug the two of them. That's why she had no recollection of the sexual.
Yeah, of course
abuse.
he'd drug it.
But
Yeah,
he would drug.
that's what a serial killer. That's what the serial killer Rodney Shore did. He molested his own daughters. He would put sleeping pills or whatever like that in their cocoa, and he molested them that way. That fucker got the death penalty. Excuse me, but he got the death penalty in 2018. Yeah.
The brother of this girl actually fucking knew Arthur Lee Allen was bad news, didn't he? All the way
he
through.
He called him because he says he wants to talk to you, and he confessed. He confessed to him in so many words, it's just. But like I say, it's not what you know; it's what you can prove. They have people working on this. Internet sleuths. They talk to one of them. You may think they're all like whatever like that. They do their homework, of course, because they want justice. That's what this comes in about, is justice. The case is still ongoing. It's a very good doc. They showed family photos. They showed family photos of him. And all this other stuff.
Old video footage of him diving.
The letters with him and the woman, with him and the girlfriend, their mother, who would never admit it, but knew. She had to have known, but she didn't want, because she was. You can't get in relationships and stuff like that. I get it. You want to keep somebody. You're like going like, not again. You don't want to deal with it. I understand that. She mentions a box, and that's where all the letters were in. There's videos of her showing the letters that he did. There was a video of him like with his dog talking to her through that and stuff like that. It's really weird. And
doesn't he, in those letters as well, he pretty much fucking almost like admits it, but in so many words, he admits he's the fucking killer as well.
Before I saw this, because I remember the report saying, I remember the news report, watching the news when I did watch the news, saying that the fingerprint didn't match, and that was the last vestige they have. Which is, they did have a forensics woman on there doing a blood sample from a knife.
Yeah.
That this one kid that he knew had. And he asked him, he's like, because there's blood on the knife. He goes, what happened? He says, I killed a chicken. And they mentioned that in the film too. He killed a chicken and stuff like that. She does a DNA test. It's blood, but it's very, very like deteriorated and stuff like that. Right at the hilt of the knife. How trippy is that dude saved that?
Right. Yeah.
How
absolutely.
trippy is that he saved that? You thinking it's all rusted up. There's no way, but DNA stays on. It just doesn't. You can't get rid of it, but it's still inconclusive. That's the sad part about it. We all know he did it.
Yeah. Oh no, he
closure.
Did it.
It's definitely closure. It's definitely closure. It's like a serial killer getting the death penalty, then there's more murders. That's why they held him back for so long. But he died. He wrote a note before he passed too, because he was found when he died, like face down. Like there was a note right next to him. So it's like he just said, where he said, I'm not the Zodiac. So he's just saying a big F you to everybody. Like, so it had to have been him. I wasn't sure before. I'm sure now. It has to be. Yeah. There can't be anybody else. There can't be. Murders don't stop. They just don't stop unless you're in prison or you die.
Exactly.
Yeah, or you die.
3 years he was in prison. The most chilling part of that fucking Netflix series for me is that interview that woman does towards the end when she goes to his place. Fuck me, man. If you like, there's so many triggers. Like she knew when she was in that fucking interview.
Just for the fact is like, how can you not get him for having like pipe bombs in his house where he was unemployed and he was renting because it was in a vacant house. So you can do that. Like, like people that are like getting ready to sell a house, you can stay in that house, which is a trip to me. You can stay there rent free until they sell the house. So that's nuts. Like with the, well, other than like the utilities and all that stuff too, that's fine. But it's like crazy. No property tax. You're out of your mind.
But if you had any doubts before you watch our Netflix series, you will come away with that knowing.
And like literally from the film, because it'd been a minute since I've seen this film, I would pick this up. I think I got this for like $20 or something like that. It wasn't too much for this 4K, and I hand it to Paramount. Good for them, because Paramount usually doesn't do this, But with this one, this was obviously a big release because I think it's the anniversary or something like that. But this is great, and it's loaded with special features. I'd highly recommend picking this up. And that's a sweet ass. This might be my slip of the year. This is a badass cover right here. So
I'll give it an 8 to 10. I'm probably about the same. I do think, like yourself, it's a little bit too long in places, the film. But no, it's a great fucking watch.
It's not my favorite Fincher, but it's my second favorite. I really do love Seven, but this has that dark, gritty Seven feel to it and stuff like that, and it's a serial killer film too. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. It's rewatchable to me, which is a trip. Like the music, soundtrack is great, of course it is. The acting is very good, and but yeah, that's Zodiac, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we got this bad boy, and of course this bad boy right here. Your overall thoughts on both these films here, Darren?
Well, like I say, The Taint of Dreaded Sundown is an absolute must for any slasher fan. That would rank highly in my all-time sort of slasher list. The Zodiac is just, I think anyone who likes true crime, it's like with that film as well, Chris. Would you say it's like 80% of the real?
I say it's close to 85%.
85, yeah, definitely. It is.
I almost thought that the scene on the freeway, I think they added that in, but I had to do research on that to say, yeah, there was a situation where that happened. But that's nuts to me. That's why that's my favorite dark scene in there, because that's terrifying. So where she says, "I tossed out my baby, so she wouldn't kill." So she tossed out the child, like crazy.
No, that happened in real life, did it? The baby.
Yeah, I believe so. But like I said, I have to do my research. But I think they'd add stuff that wasn't true.
Yeah, and The Taint of Dreaded Sundown, I would say, is literally about 80% of what the facts are as well. Highly recommend the two of them. They work well as a double feature, actually, thinking about it.
They do, yeah.
But, you've got to watch Zodiac, and then you've got to watch that Netflix series fucking straight after.
Absolutely. One thing Netflix is good for is those true crime docs. I love true crime. Their docs are very good. They just recently did the one with not Anna Faris. What's her name? Woman of the Hour. That's very good. I recommend that one. I recommend that film. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's very good to me. But yeah, these are this is a good one. This was a very good stream. Yeah, definitely Off the Blade, serial killer films. We have more of these in the future, so keep an eye on those. Darren's on vacation a little bit from the people at deadpit.com, and of course that Subjective Perspective Collective. I have all their channel links in the info bar.
I'm still doing stuff up until like the 23rd of December, and now I'm just gonna have a couple of weeks off. But
yeah, absolutely,
we still got quite a bit to do. So we're covering Free Jolly this Sunday. Again, I'm terrible remembering. So Sweet So Dead is one of them. I should have brought them here. I'm terrible remembering things. Anyway,
it's okay.
We got Free Jolly. The week after, we're doing the Forgotten Jolly 7 box set.
Hell yeah.
I think Dirk's got to pick another subject after that for the following week. So I'm going to be around up until, like, just before Christmas. And I'll be back then on January the 5th, where we plan to do the Houses of Doom box set. So
excellent. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, expect great stuff on that.
I think we got a Franco Nero as well for the middle of January. So that's going to be
yeah, great stuff. Revenge of the Ninja
Collective. Go over and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you can catch Darren on Eurocult. You can catch him on Visited by Voices Network. Great network.
Eurocrypt. You gotta say Eurocrypt.
Eurocrypt. Eurocult of Christopher Lee. There we go. I missed out on that box set sale too, that 7-head. Damn it. That's okay. It saves me money. So I have all their links in the info bar. Great stuff. Definitely check this out. In the future for the Something Freaky Geeky. So I got these 3 films in a series that I'm going to check out. So I'm going to start watching these very soon. That one being Interstellar. Other one being Fire and Ice. For all you nerdy anime fans out there, they want to be Yu-Gi-Oh! The film, which is like an hour long, 40 minutes or something like that. And then from Go Nagi, Demon Lord Dante. So expect this box set and stuff like that. So expect me to give my thoughts and stuff for the Freaky Geeky with my Freaky Geeky brothers, Jeff, a.k.a. John Doe Juggalo, and Guy, a.k.a. Caveman. Caveman has some stuff coming up, so he'll be all good and ready for that. Hopefully, he'll be Super Saiyan God. And then, of course, for our next Giallo Rex episode that me and Darren do, it'll be the Bloodstained Butterfly. It would be the Bloodstained Shadows. That works pretty good.
Yeah.
And Off Balance. So expect that stuff too. Next slasher stream, Christmas edition. We are doing some good ones here. So we're doing the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, and we're doing the remake. Not Silent Night that was done by John Woo. I'm talking about Silent Night that was done by Steve Miner of Friday the 13th fame. So expect that one in the future as well. And slash alongs and all that stuff. I put my post up of content that's coming. You can check that all out on my page. And just great stuff. Like I say, New Year coming up, and just revamping the channel a little bit. But don't worry, the giallo, the horror, the slashers, all that stuff is staying here. And it's always good having my bro Darren here to help me out with that, and everybody else in this awesome community. So good stuff coming up. Yeah,
thanks for having me on, man. Like
Absolutely.
I say, we got that one Christmas show night to come before. So and I guess we can discuss some Christmas films, horror films that we like as well.
Yeah, too, and the next Off the Blade as well. Of course, expect that in the future. So great stuff on this channel. Great things from us and everybody here. Great channels from everybody. Great people, and just do what you do, everybody, and get what you want, watch what you want, and just love films and all this other stuff too. I'm Chris C. That's Darren. You all have a great night. If you can't hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like. And as always, we'll see you all next time, and we'll see you awesome people in Disneyland. You guys take care.
Have a good one, guys.